run into Badlands. Explain those Badlands. That's a hell of a name.
Mr. Vice President, I'm going off script again, I know, but I just want to personally thank you. We've been through some stuff. We've gone through some of the most complex military operations this country's ever conducted, and your steady hand and your leadership during those was a great source of strength for me. Thank you for your leadership. Thank you for your character. Thank you for your selfless service. Thank you for commitment. Thank you for being a mentor to me, Mr. Vice President.
It's called the swamp. And you know what happened? And you know what I did? A big favor. I caught the swamp. I caught them all. Let's see what happens. Nobody else could have done that but me. I caught all of this corruption that was going on, and nobody else could have done it. Did I get that one right? Every 4 years, we gather on these steps to carry out the orderly and peaceful transfer of power. Today's ceremony, however, has very special meaning, because today we are not merely transferring power from one administration to another, but we are transferring power from Washington, D.C., and giving it back to you, the people. For too long, a small group in our nation's capital has reaped the rewards of government, while the people have borne the cost. Washington flourished, but the people did not share in its wealth. This American carnage stops right here and stops right now. The forgotten men and women of our country will be forgotten no longer. From this day forward, a new vision will govern our land. From this day forward, it's going to be only America first.
This is a president of the United States who is a danger to the Republic.
America first.
He knows he's an illegitimate president.
The oath of office I take today is an oath of allegiance to all Americans.
The great Trump recovery.
America will never be a socialist country. I will fight for you with every breath in my body.
Russia, Russian, pro-Russian, Russian, the Russians.
Russia.
And I will never, ever let you down.
A dangerous virus is spreading rapidly in China, and U.S. officials are very worried that it could come here.
This is really the worst attack we've ever had. This is worse than Pearl Harbor. This is worse than the World Trade Center. There's never been an attack like this.
The time for empty talk is over. Now arrives the hour of action. What they're doing is using COVID to steal an election. Together, we will make America strong again. You know what it's about? Fraud, fake ballots. We will make America wealthy again. They are trying to steal the election.
Now, under the leadership of President Trump, we are fully realizing President Kennedy's prescient view of Special Operations Forces.
We will make America proud again. And watch, please, those mail-in ballots. We will make America safe again. And in millions and millions of ballots, their vote is under what they thought they needed. Dumping more ballots in there, okay? And yes, together, we will make America great again. Thank you. God bless you. If we are right about the fraud, Joe Biden can't be president.
Congress, the chair declares the joint session dissolved.
And God bless America.
The calm before the storm.
What storm, Mr. President?
You'll find out.
moment you've all been waiting for. Here is Devolution.
Devolution.
With Patel, Patriot.
The best is yet to come.
Congrats on this. I like this show. The Power Hour. That's got a good sound to it.
Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the Saturday edition of the Devolution Power Hour. Chris and Patrick, I missed you guys last week, and I don't mean that in like a super gay way, just like a moderately gay way, but it's been a little while. How you doing?
Well, you and I had a great time in Minnesota at Quinny's Pub.
That's true. I didn't miss you that much then, but Chris, I missed you terribly.
I've been missing you too, Chris.
Oh, Chris, you're muted, so this is awkward.
Yeah, totally muted. The professionalism persists, and so do I.
You can clearly hear us. Oh,
okay. So I think he has to reboot and stuff. All right. Anyway, by the way, I just want you to know, I love Minnesota, or your part of the country, or whatever, where you people come from. White people with weird accents.
That's
it
us.
is a beautiful, beautiful place. And I can't wait to go back.
Dude, I was up till I wasn't in Minnesota. I was like on the border up in Fargo there. Last night, like 3 a.m, watching fireworks, playing pickleball. Have you ever played pickleball?
No, but I played tennis.
See, I did too when I was younger, and I played ping pong a lot. Chris, you there?
I play a lot of ping pong.
I think I was there before.
We can hear you before. Now we can.
Oh, wow, that's so weird. Anyway,
that is weird. Yeah, pickleball, dude. First time playing it last night.
Yeah.
Love it.
I thought of it as kind of like tennis for when you get older.
Yep. It's a combination of tennis and ping pong.
Except now it's like the all-encompassing, pervasive lifetime sport for people of all ages.
Yep.
It's funny. I've seen it played at Lifetime Fitness. So
they have pickleball on ESPN now. And they also have, I just saw this a few weeks ago, and I thought, wow, this is like how they would have written a dystopian future tale about us. And then I watched it for about 3 minutes and was like, okay, this is the greatest thing that's ever been televised. They have a frisbee toss competition for dogs. And the dogs run like NFL, like wide receiver patterns. And their owners just toss a frisbee like 150 yards away, and the dogs are just like chugging the entire way down the field, and then they grab it at the last second right before it hits the ground, and then they come on back, and it's like, oh, good boy. It's great.
Can you find a video of this?
I would watch the hell out of that.
I will find it.
Same here. In other news, Patrick, Candace Owens now on board the Flat Earth train, and I gotta understand how you feel about that. I can't imagine.
It sounds to me like all the stuff that I was super excited about 5 freaking years ago has now been turned gay by the neocon, neo-shill, con Inc. establishment. So I don't know. I mean, I got to figure out other truths to uncover, because right now they're turning our truth community into a big old Starbucks.
It's so funny. I want to find a clip of her talking about Flat Earth here, because I mean, there's just one of her researching it, but
I feel like they're negotiating right now. Like, hey, what if I give you this one? Can I hold these other ones back? They're going to give them.
What to say about all of it, because Candace Owens coming out and saying, "I have left the cult of science."
Mm-hmm.
That's a really good way to do it.
Yeah.
Just say, look, I don't trust you scumbags anymore in the white coats. Like, eat shit and die, scumbags in white coats.
Yeah.
I think that's a valid way to express how I feel about, the priestly class of this era, which is what these people are.
Patrick, have you ever read the essay by Solzhenitsyn, Live Not by Lies?
No, I haven't.
It talks at the very end of the episode, and I'm trying to open this up so maybe I can share it, but specifically mentions the biologists. Yeah, right down near the very bottom here. John, you want to share this just for a quick second?
Yeah, go ahead. We don't have to play the Candace Owens thing.
We can. That's fine by me. But right here, Patrick, you want to just here? Why don't you close out
Absolutely.
like this? It's going to be great.
It will not be an easy path, perhaps, but it is the easiest among those that lie before us. Not an easy choice for the body, but the only one for the soul. No, not an easy path, but then we already have among us people, dozens even, who have for years abided by all these rules, who live by the truth. And so we need not be the first to set out on this path. Ours is but to join. The more of us that set out together, the thicker our ranks, the easier and shorter will this path be for us all. If we become thousands, they will not cope. They will be unable to touch us. If we will grow to tens of thousands, we will not recognize our country. But if we shrink away, then let us cease complaining that someone does not let us draw breath. We do it to ourselves. Let us then cower and hunker down while our comrades, the biologists, bring closer the day when our thoughts can be read and our genes altered. And if from this also we shrink away, then we are worthless, hopeless. And it is of us that Pushkin asks with scorn, why offer herds their liberation, their heritage, each generation the yoke with jingles and the whip?
Man, that's kind of perfect for this last week. You know, like us be on the path of truth, and it's ready for people to join. And it just so happens the entirety of the mainstream media has joined us in our criticisms of Joe Biden and how old he is and how dementia-ridden he is. I mean, this last week has been nuts, and we talked about it on Wednesday's Power Hour, but I'm so excited to talk about it with you two. But before we do that, Chris, you should find that dog video if you haven't yet.
Yeah.
But we should also get a quick word from our sponsor of tonight's show, EasyRx. Patrick, are you ready to roll here?
Yes, we'd like to thank the folks at EasyRx for sponsoring our show tonight. They've helped so many Badlanders get the medicines they need without breaking the bank, as 2024 fires up for the summer and seems to be a rerun of 2020. It's the perfect time to stock up on the suppressed medications and get your family ready for anything they will throw at us. EasyRx has a wide variety of high-quality medications like ivermectin, hydroxychloroquine, fenbendazole, and so many more. The fake news is getting more exposed every day, and people are waking up to the truth about health and many inexpensive, life-saving medications. You'll find them all right here at EasyRx. The process is simple, the shipping is fast, and prices are unbeatable. Breathe easy knowing that you and your family are prepared for anything. Don't wait any longer. Visit badlandsmedia.tv/EasyRx and use promo code BADLANDS for 10% off your purchase of $150 or more. That's badlandsmedia.tv/EasyRx. Promo code BADLANDS.
We want to thank EasyRx for sponsoring tonight's show, and we will hear from our other sponsor a little later on. But I got this video now. Sailor the touchdown dog sets record for longest catch.
Leaves his hand. You go crazy, Calgary.
Look at that.
Fantastic stuff. Big power presented by Mayfair Diagnostics.
That throw was more impressive than anything.
I know, it's nuts. And the dogs are so happy and they're so well behaved. It's just a joy to watch, honestly.
That's so funny.
Does anybody have like an idea of how fast that dog cleared 100 yards?
I mean, it was pretty fast. Should we watch it again? Just how do I press replay? This throw is incredible, though. Yeah, he's cruising.
Yeah, I have no idea how to throw a frisbee that far.
No, I honestly don't like. I can't even catch frisbees. I suck at frisbee. But anyway, guys, the debate. Let's talk about this. We covered the debate live. We had some comments on it, and Chris, your commentary was perfect. Their tactics since then about accusing Trump of being a liar. That's been Biden's go-to line. They did this break glass in case of emergency interview with George Stephanopoulos yesterday. Was that yesterday or Friday?
Yep.
Okay, yes, today is Saturday. So yes, that was yesterday. And that was a terrible interview. I don't know if you guys watched that, but
I watched a parody of it where Stephanopoulos was asking him about being a retard, and I think that was wonderful. I also think that it probably captured the essence of the interview in the first place, because Stephanopoulos, who is obviously just an operative of the intelligence community, just, you know, kind of teabagged Joe Biden for the whole period, just absolutely humiliated him for being mentally decrepit.
Yeah.
It sounded like he was hosting a public negotiation. He was like, okay, well, will you get out if like Nancy and Chuck ask you to? And Biden's like, no. Well, what if it's Nancy, Chuck, Barack, and Bill Clinton? No. Okay, well, what if it's Nancy, Chuck, Barack, and Bill Clinton, and we murder your entire family? It was like going that direction. And Biden is just like, no. I'm telling everyone now, through you, George Stephanopoulos, that there is no way I'm getting out of this thing. Unless God
comes down. He did say that. That was the one caveat.
Yes. I remember
so that's your Project Bluebeam right there.
All those clips. I'm absolutely loving this, and I hope this summer never ends.
Yeah.
Watching this man get batted around like a ball of yarn while a bunch of panicking Democrat cats try to figure out what the F they're going to do next. It's glorious. And I think it's a devolution friggin' proof if he makes it all the way to the frickin' finish line for the most hysterically funny election steal of all time.
Yep. But the media has been what's most interesting to me. On Wednesday's show, we were kind of discussing, like, what is it that changed? They spent 3.5 years propping him up. And it was even longer than that, because honestly, back in 2019 and 2020, when he was running for president the first time, he wasn't much better than he is now. Like, just a little younger, but he still like was making all the same errors. They propped him up. They deceived everybody, whatever. And now they've flipped on him. And their story at this point, best told by Brian Stelter, is hell has no fury like a press corps deceived. They've been deceived, guys. Reporters feel duped, some probably embarrassed, and are scrambling to unearth new evidence of decline. And honestly, I didn't realize that he has been released by Hamas yet.
Oh no!
I don't know who posted that, but that was funny. Anyway,
that's fantastic.
But the media, they're being ridiculous right now. It's kind of funny at this point that this is the route they're going, trying to tell us that they've been deceived when they've been in on the cover up since day one.
It seems like right now, no one has any idea what's going on. And you got to think that like the mid-level managers have no access to any larger plan. And so I think that there's a lot of people who were accustomed to hearing from and taking seriously, who themselves just believe, okay, the guys up there, whatever level it is above them at which this decision is getting made, they think, oh, somebody's going to fix this for us. We can just all talk about how badly we need to get Biden out of there in order to win. And if we all do that, someone's going to come in and fix it, because that's how it's always worked before. So I don't know, man. It seems like there's a lot of people left in the dark right now,
but not the media.
There was an outstanding piece on badlands.substack.com written by Eric Carlson. And I think it puts everything into perspective when you see these people, the people you can see, as Chris describes it, mid-level managers. One of the reasons we can't round up the deep state is because we can't find them. We don't know who they are. You can round up Joy Reid all day and all night. All that you're going to get is a mentally ill woman who receives her orders from people she couldn't even find for you if you waterboarded her. So the entire operation is basically, okay, how do we find the nodes in this network? Right now, we saw the activation of thousands of little public-facing nodes who are fully controlled, fully owned, fully puppeteered like an animatronic, giant gorilla in a Chuck E. Cheese. And when you actually find out how they receive their orders, I think it's to the point of they get their orders from a CEO, so like a Jeff Zucker type, and then Jeff Zucker gets his orders from a phone with a voice on the other end of it whose name he doesn't even know. It's going to be something like that. And so mapping out those networks is absolutely essential, and I'm glad we're getting to see it in real time.
That was excellent.
It was perfect. But let's especially the waterboarding part. Anytime you talk about waterboarding in mainstream media journalists, get a little excited. But just a little game theory. Like what is the media trying to accomplish here? Like honestly, like their goal is to get somebody out of office that they put in there themselves. Like they assisted in stealing this election for Joe Biden in 2020. They've been covering for him since then. And this is the part that I'm trying to figure out what exactly is going on here. And I don't know if we will be able to do that. Maybe not even here tonight, but why now? And why this complete 180? And nobody's buying their bullshit that they weren't in on this from the start. I mean, do you guys remember when he used to go around with these note cards, like with the pictures of who to ask and what question? And then it came out over the weekend that Biden was on a radio interview and he said something wrong, but then the guy went on CNN and he's like, yeah, well, they told us which interview or which questions to ask. They fed us the questions. And now Biden's campaign is like, okay, we'll stop telling these journalists which questions we suggest are asked. It makes no sense, but they've been in on this for 3.5 years or more.
Yeah, of course.
So why now? Like, what do you guys think is the reason for the switch now?
I think it's been programmed for this to happen for a very long time. I mean, in 2020, I was talking about Joe Biden as a fall guy. Why would you ever choose this guy? And the reason is because you're about to try to implement a very, very unpopular agenda, and you're going to want somebody to take responsibility for that. And if you are able to heap all of the responsibility onto them, then you can get rid of him. He's the vessel for all that guilt and accountability. And then he's the problem. They replace Biden with somebody who seems slightly better and then compare him to the most hateable, which is Trump. And then you get to drive right through. You get rid of all that past nonsense and you just keep on going as though you're the solution.
But from day one, like their most important tool in their belt, in my opinion, it maybe besides the money printer, is their ability to steal elections. Mm-hmm. Even running Joe Biden in the first place risked that because he wasn't a good candidate and they had to steal the election from Trump in order to get him in. And even 2 years ago when they announced he was going to keep going, I mean, they could have had this media freakout back in the Democratic primaries and maybe they could have got a different candidate to overcome Joe Biden as the 2024 nominee, but they didn't do that.
I think in 2020 and in 2016, both of those outcomes had some part of a surprising result on behalf of the regime. So in 2016, right, she was never supposed to lose. We've heard that countless times. Whatever it was that happened, allowing Donald Trump to win. Last time they had war gamed out all of their plans around Trump contesting things in a way that he did not. They had people ready to head to the streets if Trump was named the winner. Yeah, isn't that amazing?
This is insane.
Yeah.
Ross I can't pronounce his last name. Ross Douthat.
Douchat.
Douthat. Thank you.
So that we don't waste a ton of time on this article, it's not exactly what the headline presents. It's more a discussion of whether Curtis Yarvin's theory about having we might as well have a monarch kind of thing. And he questions whether or not we need this one kind of chief magistrate. It's not quite the same as where this could be going, which is to no longer have much of the federal government. And it seems like they're getting ready to incorporate those ideas as well. And then you just simply take two more steps to what Elon's been talking about with AI taking over government and people like Klaus Schwab talking about how we don't need elections anymore because we actually already know what the people want. I mean, we're entering a very, very weird phase. I talked about it this week and said it's basically like you have two groups in an old Western movie. You have the guys with the black hats, like riding down the pass as the train is coming through. They're coming down on the left side. You got the guys in the white hats coming down on the right side. And it's just about who's going to rob this train, because we're all meeting this thing at the same time. And it's like, are we robbing this train or are they robbing this train? Because it's all set up for there to be a split on all these levels. And all that ultimately matters is who and what is in control.
In terms of like robbing this train, are you talking about election theft?
All of it. All of it. We're meeting all of these points. You could talk about it with the currency, right? If it becomes a central bank currency rather than like a decentralized thing, a Bitcoin or a gold-backed US dollar or a basket of cryptocurrencies or whatever it is, those two things are going to be entirely in opposition about which way the world is going forward. You know, one of those leads towards sovereignty and decentralization, and the other path leads toward centralization and ultimately the end of human liberty. So it's this convergence that is going to then separate. And it's like, which path do we choose? That is entirely going to be the outcome of a narrative battle.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I mean, the only thing I would say differently, it's not even a matter of whether or not we get to choose it, because depending how this upcoming election goes, it's going to be chosen for us.
Well, there are many ways to choose things that don't include elections. And the money thing in particular is that is just something that people will choose in reality, and through the choice it will become the only option. You know, if nobody believes the outcome of their elections, no matter how they intend to handle the results, then what? They can't have a society where no one believes it. And they already tempted fate once.
Patrick, do you have anything to add to that? Otherwise, I kind of want to get back to the question of.
I was about to kind of round things up, bring things around, because your exploration of why on earth these media people would suddenly turn on Biden, because they could have done this any time over the past 4 years. The guy was visibly demented the whole time. So the first thing is, okay, media people, you're going to tell us you didn't know you've been deceived. You've been traveling with this man on a regular basis, tons of you. You see his day-to-day activities. There's no way you didn't see this. They couldn't have kept this from you. We saw it happening already. Tucker Carlson was speaking openly of Biden's dementia during the 2019 Democratic primaries. So it is beyond laughable that they could claim that they were deceived, but maybe they're just saying it because that's all they've got. And then the other thing, of course, is your reference is there a relationship between the sudden turnaround from these journalists and the overturn of the Chevron decision?
And maybe it isn't even that. I don't know for sure. I'm just spitballing there. I haven't even looked into if there's been any cases, election-related cases with Chevron. There's something weird. It seems like such a risk to me to do this, because if you're the media and you're going to try to remove him and do this about face, and like everybody is all in against Biden right now, if you don't successfully remove him here, then you've effed yourself, because this upcoming election, they're going to have to come back around and be like, just kidding, guys. We didn't mean any of that. He's the guy. You know, he definitely beat Trump. And that's a huge risk for them. One, I don't think they needed to take with how I think they can handle elections. And so what I don't understand. And it's still racking my brain over it.
And think about this from a strategic perspective. Replacing him with a different candidate is the way they wanted to go, because they're like, oh shit, everybody knows he's demented. Okay, let's just go with that for a second. I'm not saying that's true, what's going on. Let's go with that. So if they need to get rid of him at that point, they have to get rid of him. Another way of putting it would be, if you go for the king, you best not miss. Because the very worst possible outcome is they publicly express needing to get rid of him. Then they can't even get rid of him, because then they've weakened him even more than he was weak before they took a shot at him. But he stays in. And that way, and this is just my opinion, that way you have him crossing the November 5th finish line in as weak a state as can be imagined. You have an entire nation expecting him to get 19 votes total. And then somehow he gets like 110 million.
Yeah.
That is a recipe for a mass awakening.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's the exact scenario I've been talking about for like 6 months. And the fact that Biden is going to be even weaker means that they can keep Trump diminished in a way, allow for the Trump win, and give even more support to the idea that people wanted divided government. And so they voted down ballot for all of these uniparty candidates. Again, I think that's the ideal outcome. Keep the election fraud apparatus in place and
Ideal
fill
for
the
them.
down ballot for them. Oh yeah, of course for them. By the way, I don't believe that any of this is like up for. I think all of this is already set in stone.
I do too. I think we're just watching a movie, but
yeah,
Chris, it's so beautiful,
it's so beautiful,
blissfully beautiful that they could get rid of Biden, and then they're stuck with Kamala.
Well,
I mean, don't threaten me with a good time.
I'll take each and every one of them, as I discussed with you last week, Patrick. I hope each of them gets a week or two in the spotlight so that we can systematically dismantle every one of their so-called up-and-coming talent. I'm more than up for that challenge, but gosh, man, I don't think they're going to be able to do it at all. And I think that they're just going to try to tear down Trump as much as possible and put in as big a subversion as they can. And so then, John, with the Supreme Court decisions, the timing there, that is all of these Supreme Court decisions allow Trump to do things to the administrative state that he was not able to do in his first term. So yeah,
that's what you're saying. So you think
it's freak out worthy, even if it's not directly related.
You think so you think they might end up actually letting Trump take the win, and then steal everything down ballot?
So I think that might be I think that would probably be their best case scenario and may well be their plan. And I think that the response to that is probably to send that plan haywire and have the machine generate 90 or 100 million votes for Biden.
Because one of the things they're even saying right now in the mainstream media is one of the reasons they want Biden to drop out is because all these senators and governors and everything are worried about the down ballot. They think that Biden being the candidate is going to affect everything down ballot. And so I don't know if they can, I don't know, man. Like they're taking away that narrative a little bit.
Stealing down ballot. What does that look like? Well, it means a whole bunch of Democrats winning enough to keep President Trump from winning the House and Senate. Dudes, if Trump is as popular as I expect him to be when election day comes around, the way that this is all playing out, I think it's safe to say that the people wouldn't stand for a down ballot steal either.
I think that is entirely possible, but it's also important to remember that it's not just about Democrats. It's really about uniparty Republicans, because they have Larry Hogan in Maryland, and they are setting that up to be a close Senate race in a, quote unquote, deep blue state. And when they tell us a Republican won a Senate seat in Maryland, of course, the elections are legitimate. A lot of people are going to take that and the Trump win, and they're going to believe it. And Larry Hogan is a Democrat, and so empowering all of these state governments, it's not just about the federal positions. That seems like an ideal outcome as far as they would be concerned,
See,
could it be any better than that?
I think there's something bigger going on here. I don't think Trump would allow that. If the end game here is to expose the fraudulent election system, and maybe that's not the end game, but I do believe that has got to be the end game. I don't think there's a single better outcome for our side to expose our fraudulent election system than them stealing for Joe Biden. We've been saying that for years,
100%.
like years. And I that's how I see this playing out. It's the media is the thing that I'm struggling to understand. No, we should just go through some of Brian Stelter's Twitter timeline.
Can I say one more thing there, John?
Go ahead.
I think that we should allow for, at least conceptually, this is the way I think of it. If the country actually wakes up and understands immediately, like, oh, wow, our elections are stolen. Like, not just the Biden Trump thing. That is what they will try to sell us when they incorporate election theft into the central narrative. Yep. They'll try to say it was just Biden and Trump, and then they're going to give everybody their opportunity to make up for that and like just leave it behind. So it's going to be critical to make sure that people don't just go back to sleep over that, and that we push that thing. But I think that any good plan along these lines would have to allow for goals to be accomplished earlier, and to then, why can't this problem be solved in the next 120 days?
Because I think we get a lot of sheep out there, man. I'm not even necessarily talking about our audience, but just generally in the public, like people people aren't willing to do stuff without specifically being told that it is okay to do that thing. You know what I mean?
I agree. But
and the
again,
people saying to do that thing are we can't get a footing on an major platform to reach any of these people. You know what I mean?
We can't now. That is for certain. But if the mainstream media does incorporate stolen elections into the central narrative, then it just opens up a whole new door. And I mean, things changed a lot in the last 10 days, just since the thing that we've all known for 4 years has now been incorporated into the central narrative. So,
and we are going to get to the Wisconsin thing and the illegal aliens voting thing, but I do honestly want to go through some of Brian Stelter's timeline here, because it's hilarious. Like, this is a completely different person, it seems, from what we had prior. But let's read through just some. We won't click into the articles unless you guys want to. We can dig into anything you want, but let's just read some of the stuff he's sharing.
We're digging up Bill Kristol. Oh, this is so gross.
It's on his timeline, man.
All right, Bill Kristol.
Scroll down a little bit.
A courageous and consequential piece by David Axelrod. It must have been painful for David to write, but it is important that he did so.
It's called Biden's Defiant Delusion. We got this.
And then Gabe Fleischer. Watching Dems convince themselves that the media is biased against them based on a brief spell of stories about a very serious topic has been a sight to behold. I'd be prepared to bet that no issue has received more New York Times columns in past 10 years than Trump's threats to democracy. We are both weak and perceived as all-powerful at the same time, quoting, I suppose, journalists. Ah, yes, of course.
He's a staff writer at the New Yorker.
A fag.
You want to read what he retweeted there?
Oh, yeah. Let's see what he said. Kind of feels like we've hit the oversaturation point where people tune out the media. Not saying that all they should, but they always do. Shouldn't change the way journalists do their job, but we are both weak and perceived as all-powerful at the same time.
We could get into this 2025 thing that Trump announced, but there's one. I want to find that there's a clip of him. Oh yeah, here, look at this. He retweeted
Jonathan Karl, ABC scumbag. This is malpractice. When you give the interviewer questions, it is no longer an interview. Why did the White House do this? Referring to giving them the questions in advance. There's no freaking way he hasn't known this the whole time.
Yeah.
What a douche. And then Crazy Joe.
Yeah, we can skip him. Fuck
Psycho
him.
Joe.
There's a clip here of Stelter talking I want to play. I think it's this one.
This is no longer a media framing. This is about elected officials in his own party rebelling against him. To the extent that journalists are the ones raising these questions about the president's fitness, that's now fading into the background because it's his own party asking the questions.
Yeah, they are. I spoke with a House Democratic lawmaker who was asking that question just a short time ago.
It's like he's trying to pass off blame from the media for not asking these questions. And it's like, oh, it's his own party doing it. You know what I mean? It's just, this whole thing is weird to me. And it's just something we're missing. I feel like we're missing something. Like, we're missing the actual reason for this. And it can't simply be that they finally just woke up.
John, I'm so freaking with you, man. Obviously, we're witnessing some kind of elaborate deception here. But it's the unanimity and immediacy of their change of opinion that just gave me whiplash. And I don't have a good answer for you on this. I really need a good theory.
And the only thing that's like preventing Biden from dropping out is Biden himself just being like, nah, not doing it. Like, that can't be it. Can't be.
I don't know what they're going to do because they're stuck with Kamala. And if they take out Kamala, the next in line is freaking Mike Johnson.
If they really want to cancel elections and not have an election and keep Joe Biden in power without, Joe Biden in power without an election, I would think that they would have to figure out a way to make the people on that side of things think that the process is still fair and all of this happened naturally. They have to want there to not be an election, though, and maybe this will convince them that it's a bad idea, that they're definitely going to lose. And if they know they're definitely going to lose, then it's more important to cancel elections altogether. I could see that coming. I don't know.
I don't know, man.
You have, Zelensky canceled elections over in Ukraine.
Yep. And they said
Blinken canceled those. That was not Zelensky. That was Blinken. I was going to CISA's website to pull up what you had sent over earlier, Chris. And now I realize it was from War Room. But look what was just released yesterday on CISA's website. Patrick, we should read through a little of this.
Oh my God. These friggin' people, the balls. Okay. CISA releases guide to operational security for election officials, released July 5th, 2024. Washington. Today, the Cybersecurity and Infrastructure Security Agency, CISA, released its Guide to Operational Security for Election Officials. This essential guide claims to enhance the security of election infrastructure by providing a thorough overview of operational security, OPSEC, within the election context, highlighting potential risks and offering practical mitigation measures. Operational security this is so badly written too. Operational security is a systematic approach to identifying and protecting sensitive information, data, or capabilities within an organization. Without robust safeguards, sensitive information can be inadvertently or deliberately exposed and exploited by threat actors, potentially impacting the ability of election workers to fulfill their duties, exposing voters' personally identifiable information, PII, and enabling unauthorized access to internal systems and facilities. By incorporating OPSEC principles into daily election operations and fostering a culture of security awareness, election workers can significantly reduce the risk of unauthorized disclosures while maintaining a transparent elections process and responding to public inquiries. The guide emphasizes the importance of viewing data from an adversary's perspective to holistically assess and mitigate potential threats. Quote, CISA provides various training programs for election workers, including secure practices, incident response planning, and de-escalation techniques, said CISA Special Advisor to the Director for Election Security, Kate Conley. This guide is another excellent resource CISA provides the public to keep our elections safe and secure.
Hold on. So OPSEC is like operation security, right? That's like not leaking what's going on inside of an operation.
Yeah. That's crazy.
This does not seem like something you'd want in a transparent and open election process where you're electing, the leader of the free world or something.
I just sent a link with a picture. This description where it says the guide emphasizes the importance of viewing data from an adversary's perspective. It makes me think of that.
Oh my gosh.
Are you familiar with OJ's book, If I Did It? Oh, sorry. This is not. Gosh, man.
I know, dude. The search engine.
I meant to grab the right one and I grabbed a meme.
It's okay.
It's okay, Chris. We get the idea. Yes. The Judith Regan almost published If I Did It.
Yes.
It was she had Regnery, I think it was.
I blew my joke.
Your joke was excellent.
Little premature.
Your joke appreciated it.
Joke blowing. It's all good, man.
Oh man.
I'm actually clicking through the this guide now, and I'm not seeing anything crazy yet.
Well, I could always, you know what we could try, John? Knocking out a few super chats sometimes, because I've noticed that they've been sending the super chats at appropriate moments during the conversation. So maybe we could talk about some of them like right then.
Yeah, if you want to do that, I'm going to pull up the boosts too, because I want to get through some of the boosts before we keep going through. But yeah, go ahead and if you want to read through the super chats for now, actually the Rumble rants.
Rumble rants. Sorry. $15, 1027JS. Thumbs up, everyone. And thank you for that. $1, Data 12. It's another lie, of course. What else do we expect? Mainstream media is a course of lies. Very true. $5, Tandaluz. What if the DNC adds a new candidate? Biden stays in and wins by fraud, of course. And the Dems scream election fraud and investigate and find Trump won. I don't know. Maybe it's definitely anything's possible. $5, Nancy K. Reese. Crazy how they do not have any good candidates. The only one they had was RFK Jr. and they drove him out of the party. I sent a mean tweet today. I said, you know how I know RFK Jr. can't be president? I have ears. Anybody who talks like that, shouldn't be running for president. All I'm saying. Sorry. $5, Dew Club. Let's say he steps down. It could take several months for Congress to confirm a new VP. What a huge risk for Kamala there with Mike Johnson next in line. That opens up other variables. I said something similar. Thank you very much. $50. Hell yeah. World War Kentucky 3W. Mike Flynn for VP. Com digs are becoming more obvious when cross-referencing them with Q posts. For example, Flynn posted on X at 2:04 p.m. Eastern Time today about treason. Read that post, I suppose read that post and Truth Social on Q 4349 and Q 3253. How does that relate to the how does that pull those drops? But thank you so much for the very generous super chat. $1 RPRN. They know the crimes with evidence is imminent. Who wants to investigate a senile old man? An investigation would lead to others, and they can't have that. True. $20 World War Kentucky 3W. I would bet my house that Trump has kept his powder dry to strategically release the evidence to the public this year. It does not matter what the Dems do. This is the year the binder is produced. I like the sound of that. I like the way you're thinking. $10. P3 Rick 13S Christopher Patrick. Avoiding John's Pat internal issue. Why is founder Kate no longer on Badlands? A woman in tears on her podcast saying she's scared. No way to treat a lady, John. Well, that is your stupid opinion, and thank you for paying us $10 for it. 77. Oh, then we have Armando Jr. 423 is now a monthly supporter. Thank you so much. And $10, the new Prue. Thanks for the show, guys. Thank you very, very much.
I wonder how long we're going to keep getting those questions. So stupid.
Not long.
Chris, did you want to say anything?
I mean, it's so dumb. I can't believe people are still doing this.
Yeah. It is what it is. Yeah, $10.
Anyway, some boosts we got going on from $100 from HLYNNF. Huge thank you for coming to Minnesota, and we love the idea of a Minnesota GART. I appreciate each of you and all you do to keep us informed, make us think, make us laugh, and especially keep us sane. Badlands is truly special. Thank you. And we got Patrick GBBP417. Eating gents while not Badlands. It's definitely Devo stuff. Check out Patrick's Reading Epic Threads today. He reads Miss Dawn's awesome piece on January 6th at 107. HUM, 11 members each party, 1111. You say drop 890 resolved by 1111. Word Pence used. Continue 250 characters. Playthrough 108.50 and find the hidden 17 in Trump's phone log. Time missing 7 hours and 37 minutes. 737. Interesting coincidence. I didn't understand like half of that, but
email me that at pgunnels@gmail.com and explain it to me like I'm 5. I mean it like I'm friggin' 5, and I will sit down and read it.
And then we got a Lion Share says, thanks guys for a good time every Saturday night. Your numbers are forever written on Badlandia's bathroom wall. Friends in near the North Georgia area, please join our new Telegram page, and that is on the Badlands Boost website if you guys want to check that out. And then from Frank, there's nothing that these maniacs won't do to stay in power. I see Trump's being sentenced July 11th to prison next to false flag, blamed on mega extremists, and then they'll cancel the election. Will this give military the mandate they need for Devo? That was from June 29th, so it's been a little while, but that got pushed back, obviously, to September.
Yeah, that was a good piece. And I'll be doing some more from Dawn. That was good stuff.
Yeah, no, that's I haven't listened to that yet, but is that the thing you emailed over?
I did email it over, and the gist is the big arrests might have taken place on J6, and J6 might have been cover for some very high-profile arrests.
Gotcha. But yeah, I'm not seeing anything like crazy interesting on this guide. Like I can show you some stuff. There's a note here about identify who's a threat actor, foreign adversaries, foreign aspect. That's interesting. It's just weird. It's OPSEC stuff. And I don't like some of the stuff they've said isn't possible to happen. Listed confidential voters erroneously sent to media organization.
Okay. So, for example, these are things that CISA is all worried about in this upcoming election, right?
Essentially. Well, it's a guide to, get ahead of potential OPSEC issues.
Sure.
Without adequate safeguards in place, sensitive information can be exposed, whether wittingly or unwittingly.
Yeah, sure. So they're specifically worried about those 4 bullet points that you put down there. Okay, so without adequate...
Read this line right here.
Yeah, sure. Without adequate safeguards in place, sensitive information can be exposed, whether wittingly or unwittingly, and collected by potential threat actors like foreign adversaries and criminals. This may impact the ability of election workers to perform their official duties, expose voters' personally identifiable information, or enable unauthorized access to internal systems or facilities.
Something they said was not possible. Pretty much any of
Yeah,
that.
they said it was not possible. We have been strangely brainwashed by our media that election fraud is impossible. And it's remarkable.
It's just weird. It reminds me of Trump's NSPM, the OPSEC one. Do you remember that? Like why would you
we didn't get to read any of those things though. We just get the name and what it references.
No, this one I actually found something on.
Okay, which NSPM?
I'll show you. 1 second.
NSPM, for those of you who don't remember, stands for National Security Presidential Memorandum. It is a secret order given by the president. They're usually classified, and he issued like an assload of them right before the Biden inauguration.
9 in his last 10 days of office, or 10 in his last 10 days. But I wrote about this. This post was back in January of 2023, Patrick. I could have swore we talked about this. We're talking about OPSEC, all these things.
Talking about it again?
The NSPMs.
Okay.
And then this is, I actually found this. And this is NSPM 28. I might as well read it.
Yeah, might as well. Okay, so this is from Michael Orlando to whom?
It's the DNI. And I mean, it would have been January 13th, so right before Trump left office.
Okay, so it would have been to the DNI, the ODNI.
Yeah.
It doesn't say who this is directed to. Anyway, as set forth in National Security Presidential Memorandum 28, the National Operations Security OPSEC program, NOP, supports the establishment, implementation, and standardization of stakeholder OPSEC programs across the executive branch of the U.S. government and, as appropriate, beyond to trusted partners. In short, NSPM 28 requires all executive branch departments and agencies implement OPSEC capabilities that identify and protect their most critical assets, identify and mitigate vulnerabilities, consider foreign adversarial threat in their organizational risk management activities, and apply sufficient threat mitigation practices to counter the threat. Not requirements are set forth in NSPM 28.
I mean, that's basically what it says. So it's implementing OPSEC, but that's basically how it's read in that election one too, the CISA one.
Well, I mean, it's the name that they're using. So
yeah, but even the line you just read, that the foreign adversarial threat and the threat mitigation, that's almost word for word what the CISA thing said. But anyway, that's just maybe what to think of. Whatever. I don't know if it means anything or not, but weird.
Either, but it certainly is worth noting.
Yeah, Chris, you've been quiet too. If you got anything to add.
No, I'm just I'm thinking about this, and I have nothing to add whatsoever. I want to look into that, though. It seems like the sort of thing that would lay down a roadmap on potentially some routes we could expect. And I think also the point that I would make on this is going to be brought up if we talk about Wisconsin and Washington and whatnot.
We can do that. If you guys are good to move on from like the media freakout stuff, I'm still not sure what the motive here. We'll find out. You know, we have how many months till the election? We'll figure it out eventually. Like they're going to disclose what is happening here. But
I just love how they have something new to take him down with every single day, and then he reaffirms every day that he's the guy.
Yeah,
kind of hilarious. I mean, how many days in a row can they go like that? It gets worse every day.
I do wonder because like I am seeing a lot of the same people that are saying Biden is an actor and like literally wearing a mask and stuff are also saying change of bad are coming. They're going to switch him out. And like, how does that make any sense? Like that makes no logical sense, does it?
Well, I'm not sure that those have any necessary implication at all. You could certainly have actors posing as the character Biden and doing all this and taking responsibility for like the collapse of the Democrat Party and then switch him out. And I mean, he is a vessel. He is a fall guy. It doesn't really matter if it's him or 4 versions of him or a clone of him or a CGI of him, as long as they can lump that on him and usher him off stage, the mission's accomplished if that's the route they're going, right?
Yeah. I don't think, like, why would you remove somebody so successfully red pilling the world that you control, is wearing a mask and all these things, and then just like, we're gonna swap them out and let somebody else come in and just whatever. Just that doesn't make sense to me, but it's possible. He could potentially be removed. We don't know. I do not see it happening, but I've been wrong before.
I will say this again. It makes perfect sense if patriots are truly in control.
How? What do you mean?
If patriots are truly in control, they could set up the narrative in whatever way they like. Joe Biden being shoehorned back into the nomination, despite it being against every trace of self-preservation instinct by the Democrats, by the Uniparty, by all of it, sticking him back in there makes a lot of sense if patriots are in control.
Keeping him there makes sense.
Yes.
Not replacing him. Not the change batter.
No, not the change of batter. The change, well,
but also
pick your poison. It's Kamala or Biden. They can't change. They can't pass over Kamala. That's their big roadblock.
There are a bunch of narrative routes to explore on Kamala too. And, Trump's brought up the Willie Brown thing now. So that's kind of out there as fair game. At some point, I think that her eligibility to serve has to come up again and get questioned. I hope that people are questioning that over on X, formerly Twitter, where it's not like publicly acceptable to question that. These are conversations that should be had because they all go at different routes that need to be explored. One of which is Obama with the birther stuff. Maybe people need to begin thinking about these things. This is a route to that conversation.
Maybe, but let's move on to the Wisconsin stuff. I don't know if you have a good link for that. I'll find one here. Otherwise, because it was this Wisconsin Supreme Court. They voted back in mail-in ballots, right? If I'm understanding that correctly.
Yep. So somehow the Wisconsin Supreme Court said, no, you're not allowed to prevent unmonitored drop boxes where crooks can traffic ballots.
Which, because I thought they already ruled against this.
And
they did too.
Then they stole a Supreme Court race in Wisconsin to do exactly this at this time for this reason, blah, blah, blah.
Let me just make sure I understand this, Chris. Mm-hmm. The Supreme Court had already ruled.
Yep.
And so they just stole a Supreme Court election.
Correct.
Bro, that's hilarious.
And then they changed the ruling?
Yeah. Yeah, it's great. It's so overt and obvious. And who knows, man, maybe these examples continuing to come up will be the sort of thing that takes all of these Biden supporters and kind of just shakes them awake to the point where they're like, okay, fine, he stole it. Fine, if we admit he stole it, can we get rid of him? Yes, but only then.
Insane. God. And then this week too, we have, I think the House is bringing forth a bill to basically say, hey, if you're not a legal, lawful citizen of the United States, you can't vote in the election.
Mm-hmm.
And the story is like the Democrats we're bringing out the big guns, and that's a quote, bringing out the big guns to stop this bill.
And that doesn't even make sense because there's no way in hell that the Senate would pass the bill or that the president would sign it. And then there's the problem that all of those bodies are totally illegitimate.
Did you see Elon Musk come out and say that anybody who's against this bill is a traitor and should be put to death?
Yep.
I dig Elon now.
One more thing though, John, before we leave the Wisconsin subject behind. So they have ballot drop boxes now. Thank goodness we've started a ballot harvesting operation. Am I right? So Michigan and Wisconsin have ballot drop boxes. And then just today or yesterday, the Bloomberg poll comes out that shows Biden up by 3 in Wisconsin and like 2 points in Michigan.
Whatever.
It's so ridiculous and so on the nose. You'd hope that people would put that together. Oh, it's the 2 ballot drop box states where Biden is winning, but probably not. I mean, that might be asking too much.
Okay, I'm looking at Elon's timeline here. This is interesting. Real question, since we obviously haven't had one for a while, LMAO, to that article.
No.
And this is somebody that you could make an argument if devolution is ongoing, some of the theories you presented, Chris, some of the stuff we've talked about him getting Twitter, he might be a little aware of what is going on, and him talking about this and the stolen election stuff.
Yeah.
Where's it at? I mean, these are some interesting tweets. And honestly, if there's one good thing about this whole debate situation, the media flipping on him, not a single person in the world believes that Joe Biden has the nuclear codes. And he doesn't. I think I even saw, I can't remember who it was. Was it Shem Infinite or Shem something?
Shem Horn, yeah, he's an OG member of the Twitterverse.
He said something the other day. It's like, at this point, nobody can believe that Biden has a nuclear codes. It's probably some, group of generals or something somewhere that has them. I was like, yeah, dude, you should read this. You should read devolution.link.
I love how all of the people who have dismissed, obviously, the Q stuff completely, devolution to whatever degree, any question about the legitimacy of Biden once he was finally, fake inaugurated, all of those people who think that all those subjects are off limits are now proposing, they're making baseless claims about what might actually be happening.
Right.
It's incredible, man.
Incredible. Find it.
And they probably believe that they are getting to this stuff first.
Did Elon tweet Dan friggin' Crenshaw?
Hold on. I'll check in a second. I'm searching for this thing that Shem said.
Now that I think Adam Kinzinger is an op, I have to allow for the possibility that Crenshaw is.
Hey, you want to read this, Patrick?
I do. Shemhorn, I don't ever want to hear again that the president is in charge of the nuclear codes. It's obvious that Joe Biden does not have the nuclear codes right now because nobody's freaking out. So let's just drop that pretense. Some cadre of generals must have them. That's my guess. Hey, Shem.
Brilliant.
You're fake, bro.
It's true. They will tell you what they are actually doing just based on their actions and whether the thing that they're doing matches the thing they're advocating for. And it almost never does. A lot of the analysis that we're getting about the VP switch relies on things like whether or not people will be okay with letting go of the black woman. Like they can't move past her to someone else, or we need to get Big Mike in there to replace Kamala because you got to switch black woman for black woman. Things like that just expose, like there's no way that anyone who knows elections are stolen would be talking about things on those terms. Or like all the donations have gone to Biden Harris. They can't be shifted to another campaign, as if people who steal elections care about campaign finance.
Here's that tweet, Patrick. If you want to read it.
Elon Musk, those who oppose this are traitors. All caps, traitors. What is the penalty for traitors again? I mean, that's Elon Musk, not based Elon Musk parody. That's him.
Yeah. It's damn interesting. And still the one about the one that's pinned to his profile. Pinned is the one where he's saying we haven't had a president for a while. That's just crazy.
That is hilarious, is what it is.
I don't know, man. Interesting times ahead.
Chris and John, give me 1 sec.
Okay. I just don't see. I know you're one that's like anything is possible. And I agree with you. I just try to think of everything from the devolution perspective. Everything from, I mean, we still need some sort of like justice or vindication, at least, and not just us necessarily, us in a little bit, but Trump from what happened in 2020. That has to come up at some point. And if it's not going to come up before this upcoming election, it only comes up after like, okay, well, they stole this one. They clearly must have stolen the first one too. You know what I mean? Like those two must go hand in hand or something. Or how do you see that coming out?
Well, Patrick and I talked about this briefly on last week's, but you'll remember when the Fani Willis indictments were being handed down. First, they released the indictment and then they drew it back, and then they did a big primetime show on it that evening. And I think it was like the next day, or maybe it was that day, Trump said that he was going to have a press conference to lay out all the election fraud in Georgia. And we never got that press conference. He's like, we're going to be doing it next Monday. Never happened. Total rug pull, still going. At the debate last Thursday, he said at one point, let's have a press conference in a week, or we'll do another one of these in a week. And I think that Trump, by the way, Liz Harrington, just a day before maybe, had put out a long document explaining all the election fraud in Georgia. And I think that he knows he has that as a trump card. I think he's probably got 100 trump cards that he can play at any moment, and he uses them as leverage. It seems to me like when Trump is communicating now, he's just taunting the enemy and saying, we are going to do this. We will move forward if you continue to move forward. And if they're keeping Biden there, that's a great kind of trump card too. He can force their hand in many ways just based on the control he's got. And so I think he uses this leverage out in public to change narratives.
Well, I want to find that clip because my off the cuff, like watching that live and seeing what he said, I thought he was kind of saying, we could have done this in the past or whatever. I don't even want to. My understanding of it was different than what everybody else has been saying. And so I'm wondering if you can find that clip.
Just go to the debate clip and find the word conference, and you can find it in 2 seconds. That's how I've done it before. I can do it if you want.
Yeah, if you want to do that, I'm looking too. But because he did put out, if you remember this was a while ago. He put out this report on the summary of election fraud in the 2020 presidential election swing states, and he has Georgia in here. He has all the key states, but this was back in January of this year, if not sooner or prior to that. And so he's put this stuff out. What was that?
What year did this come out?
Like this year, I'm pretty sure.
No way. That seems like forever ago.
I'm pretty sure it was this year, but I mean, I could be wrong.
I think you're right.
I don't think there's a date on here.
Okay, John, it's here at, actually, do you want me to just pull this up?
Yeah, do it.
Okay, hold on 1 second. Hold for processing. This processing is taking me a long time.
Well, during processing times, I can knock out a few super chats.
Perfect.
Yeah, do it, man.
$2. World War Kentucky 3W. Patrick, TS is timestamp. Lol. Thank you very much. I don't deal well with abbreviations. $10. Ziva 95. Thank you, and thank you. $5. RPRN. I wish you would do a conspiracy theory on JFK Jr.'s death. You wouldn't think it's impossible for a man who is a target for the whole deep state to fake his death and go into hiding until such a time as this? I would not miss that episode. I don't know anything about the evidence for JFK. I'll stop there because apparently you have what you want to present, but I don't know anything about the JFK Jr. thing. I just know that some people think he's still alive. And I should look into it.
I would have much rather accepted these, but the fraud and everything else was ridiculous. And if you want, we'll have a news conference on it in a week, or we'll have another one of these in a week. But I will absolutely, there's nothing I'd rather do. It would be much easier for me to do that than I'm running again. I wasn't really going to run until I saw the horrible job he did. He's destroying our country. I would be very happy to be someplace else in a nice location someplace. And again, no indictments,
John,
no political opponent stuff.
Did you get the part you want yet?
Can win, but unfortunately, it's driven up my numbers and driven them
I don't
up
think so.
to a very high level because the people understand it.
Did you say the conference part? Did I miss it?
Yeah, it was right at the beginning. I'll go back.
One more time.
You're a whiner. When you lost the first
You're a
time,
whiner. That's the part I
continued,
wanted.
You appealed and appealed the courts all across the country.
Else was ridiculous until such time. They're running out of people. They're running out of soldiers. They've lost so many people. It's so sad. They've lost so many people, and they've lost those gorgeous cities with the golden domes that are 1,000 years old, all because of him and stupid decisions. Russia would have never attacked if I were
President Trump,
president.
the question was, will you accept the results of the election, regardless of who wins? Yes or no, please.
If it's a fair and legal and good election, absolutely. I would have much rather accepted these, but the fraud and everything else was ridiculous. And if you want, we'll have a news conference on it in a week, or we'll have another one of these in a week.
Okay.
But I will.
Okay, so if you want, we'll have a press conference in a week. Okay. So yeah, you were saying, right? I misunderstood it. Yeah.
Yeah. So I've always thought, that is an obvious trump card. He's able to set the conversation publicly whenever he wants. And there are probably ways that he could describe that situation and make it clear to everyone. I'm sure that there's 50 ways that he could present it where the country would understand, oh yeah, something else is clearly going on here, including just coming out and saying, yeah, hey, we instituted this plan because it's clear due to all of this and all of this, that this man is obviously not and could never be elected president. And this is what has happened. He could just come out and lay it out at any time. That's totally possible. But all I'm saying is that if the enemy knows he has the ability to change the conversation at any point to that thing in particular, you would have to think that you'd have to think that he's able to use that as leverage over time. And I think that that's what we've seen him do.
Yeah. With the election,
before the election,
with the election fraud stuff, it's interesting because I do think he's had the evidence, and I do think he could have presented at any time. And honestly, I think he could have prevented Joe Biden from taking office in the first place. But it's a narrative warfare. And people's perception is an interesting thing, right? Like with pretty much any situation, you see what you want to see, or you see what the people presenting the information want you to see. You know what I mean? And for the longest time, I think a majority of the mainstream, their desire for what they wanted to see was like, yeah, everything's good. What Trump is saying is bullshit. Biden did legitimately win this election. He is the best thing for our democracy. And that's the exact thing that the media was presenting to them. But now, and the closer we get to this upcoming election, the worse things get. People want to see that, like, oh yeah, this guy shouldn't even be here. This guy isn't legitimate. And that's what makes this whole media thing even more fascinating, because the Biden they're presenting is the same Biden that like the mainstream or like the public is like, yeah, that's the Biden I want to see too. Like it's aligning. That's unusual. The media's not covering for him anymore. But that is like, as we get closer to the election, like I wonder if he's going to show that damn election evidence of 2020 after the 2024 election. Like, look at all this. Okay, things seem weird now. Here's all the evidence I have that 2020 was stolen. You know what I mean? I don't know. It's just weird shit.
I'd have to wonder what such evidence could ever look like.
I don't know. It doesn't matter as long as people want to see it.
Starting in 2017, one of the things that the enemy started beating the drums about was the fact that deep fakes were coming. And I immediately thought to myself, oh, great. There's going to be a bunch of videos of these people having sex with children or something, and they're going to claim that they're deep fakes. But shepherding us away from all evidence and making it so that we cannot ever trust any evidence of a video, that's totally taken hold by 2024. So I don't know what they're going to show us. What, we have these documents? I mean, what does that even mean anymore?
I don't know.
Videos of election workers yapping about stealing the election. We've seen all of that stuff. Maybe scumbags bragging to each other about how much stealing they did, and having it be that these people are, in fact, the people who ran the election. Like that Fulton County scumbag in the mask who said, we've successfully adjudicated 94% of all the freaking votes in Fulton County. You know, being insane, basically. Getting him talking about it behind the scenes, saying, yeah, we stole it. Damn right, we stole it. And then he could just claim it's a freaking deep fake. That's how evidence is just not a thing anymore. So yeah. I don't know if that fits into anything.
And they're clearly setting this up for 2024 too, with the Wisconsin thing, and even more so the illegal alien thing. They're setting up the steal again, and which to me is saying Biden's not going anywhere. I really don't think so, because I don't know, man. It's happening.
the steal is being set up in all the same ways. All the things that we heard were being instituted in 2020, we're getting reruns of all those stories right now, while people are noticing that Biden isn't legitimate. And maybe this time they will actually put it together. It's at least being talked about more seriously in public. Like the reaction to the Dropbox's decision yesterday, I feel like that's gone pretty wide to the point where like Twitter people will understand it.
You know, it's funny that you say that. Wisconsin is a strange place. Wisconsin is the place where where Robin Voss, the Speaker of the Assembly, hired, I believe, Mike Gableman, who was a former Wisconsin Supreme Court justice, to do a once-over or do an investigation into Wisconsin's elections, because Robin Voss had enormous pressure from his own constituents because the people of Wisconsin aren't being fooled here. And so he did the whole thing, and then Robin Voss, finding out that Gableman apparently is on the level and actually trying to investigate this stuff, he tried to put a stop to it, but was not able to. The people of Wisconsin have demonstrated that they don't believe these elections are legitimate. And Wisconsin is the state where you had Robin Voss come out and say in public, yeah, not only was there probably fraud, but there was also probably widespread fraud. And then to paraphrase the rest of what he said, it basically boiled down to, yeah, but it's already been too long. So why don't you go fuck yourself, peasant? All right, I'm going to go get with my child prostitutes now. But yeah, that's Gableman right there. But
yeah,
people
well, this
in Wisconsin now are just being shown, hey guys, we don't care if you know we're doing it. There's not a thing you can do about it because you're just too friggin' nice.
Well, and that's everywhere. But this is you're muted, Chris. This is you're struggling.
I was just going to say, for the people listening, Gableman's on screen. That's not who Patrick was describing.
No, Robin Voss was the one I was describing.
Yes.
This is Mike Gableman. This audience knows what they both look like, probably. But anyway, Trump on X. Trump repost.
You don't have to repost it, but or read it. But Trump, this is what he put on True Social. He's basically endorsing Gableman over Voss for the election of, whatever. I don't even know what they're.
What are we talking about here? What are they running for?
Oh, yes, you can read it.
Highly respected Justice Michael Gableman is a fighter for Wisconsin, a state that I love. Robin Voss must be defeated. He is constantly fighting the truth and wants nothing to do with election fraud or anything else that is good for the state. We are going to make America great again, and I want to make Wisconsin a big part of that. I fully endorse Justice Michael Gableman, and so respect the time and effort he spends to make America great again. What's he running for?
I think that they're involved in the recall election of Robin Voss.
So I need to go back to following Wisconsin politics.
That sounds boring.
It's not. Those people get wild. They have the most interesting politics in the whole country.
I was actually in Wisconsin briefly last week for that wedding I was at, but it looks like doesn't say what he's running for.
Well, Robin Voss is the Speaker of the Assembly.
Gableman,
this is a second recall campaign.
Yeah. I think he was just collecting signatures.
Y'all, during my Reading Epic Threads / live stream, kind of crossover days, 2021 timeframe, when Michael Gableman was in front of the Wisconsin Assembly Committee on Campaigns and Elections, which was headed up by a woman named Brantgen, there was all of the Democrats who were in favor of keeping the steal. They all wore masks. And all of the Republicans who were like, these elections are fake. We'd like your report, sir, did not wear masks.
Mm-hmm.
And there was one little creep named Shapiro on the Dem side, whose face I've never seen, but I'm sure he looks like a genetic train wreck.
Ben Shapiro?
Not Ben. His name was like something else, Shapiro. Or some other Jewish name. I'm sorry. It might not be Shapiro. Anyway, some dude who says oy vey. Anyway, so he gets in an exchange with Gableman where Gableman absolutely spanks him.
Mm-hmm.
And if you missed that, man, go back. It was fun.
I'm just going to type in Gableman oy vey. See if anything comes up.
Okay.
No, Snapcake says Josh Shapiro. No, Josh Shapiro is the current governor of Pennsylvania.
Patrick, I did find this video. I think this is the one you were talking about earlier.
After the debate, we ran a poll, and every single person we polled thinks that you're a retard. We polled African Americans. They all say you're a retard. Hispanic Americans also think that you're retarded. They call you El Retardo. We even polled actual retarded people. Even they say you sound absolutely retarded. You see where this is going, Mr. President?
Well, I just had a bad night.
After the debate,
Is that the one you were referring to
If
earlier?
anybody wants their Chris, John, if you want to boil people's blood, just grab the video that Chris just dropped in the private chat.
Okay. Hold for processing. Okay.
There it is. There the son of a bitch is.
I know is showing many of the issues that are there. The problem gets down to what's the remedy. There are some people who think that the legislature has the unilateral ability to overturn the election. We do not. Constitutional scholars like Rick Essenberg, Jim Trupis, Donald Trump's own attorney in Wisconsin, said we do not have that power. I still believe that today. What they spent much of the time talking about, it's a private conversation, but basically they are trying to convince us of the fraud that occurred. I already believe there was fraud that occurred. The challenge is we now need to have an attorney general and a governor who will sign legislation and fight with us to make sure that the election in 2022 and 2024 is fair. We don't have the ability to unilaterally overturn the election. Just can't.
Do you think there was widespread fraud or just a few instances?
Then who does?
No, wait, he was about to answer the question. Do you think there was widespread fraud?
All right, sorry.
And I think we are going to see more and more data that comes
Skip
out.
back, John. Skip back like 10 seconds.
For 20 seconds now.
Do you think there was widespread fraud or just a few instances?
I think there was widespread fraud, and I think we are going to see more and more
Okay.
data that comes out as justice.
So you see what he said there, and I'll just summarize it for you because the audio was just way low. He said, yeah, the elections are stolen, but there ain't dick we can do about it. And here's why. Because you fuckers keep electing the wrong governor and attorney general.
Yeah,
so
that's how
I need you. What I need you to do is I need you to go back and elect the right attorney general and governor. I need you to do it in our election system. Now, I need you also not to figure this out because you'll all kill me right here if you do.
Well, it's funny. He's like, there is widespread election fraud in Wisconsin, but I need you guys to go elect the people that can fix it. Like what?
Yeah.
I mean, we are at a place of this is a moment when I said, no, this is just might makes right. And we don't have the might. This is might makes right. That guy is in your face saying there's nothing you can do about it. By the way, I'm filthy rich and I'm super powerful and there's nothing you can do.
And I keep, anytime I think about any of this stuff, I keep going back to Trump. I think it was during, it was a campaign stop somewhere. He was talking about the fraud and how they just keep throwing blank ballots in there and they can get whatever result they want. Like Trump said that at a campaign stop. He knows it's just blank ballots. You can do whatever you want. And I don't know how you can overcome that kind of cheating. And I also can't imagine that Trump is relying on that kind of cheating to get back, thinking he put something else in place before he left office. And that's why this whole media about face here is so fascinating to me, because that type of cheating exists. It doesn't make sense that they would even bother with the Biden thing this week. It doesn't make sense to me. And I keep coming back to that, but that's what's on my mind, guys. I don't get it.
It's
Yeah,
on my mind too, man.
The fact that elections are stolen and that people at high levels understand that they're stolen, especially the people who are winning rigged elections, that has to be part of the calculation throughout all of this stuff. I mean,
the media themselves are well aware of it.
They have to be.
100% they are. They're in on it. It doesn't make sense. Something happened or something we can't see or don't understand is going on with this Biden thing. And I don't know, man. I don't know. And I keep saying that because I truly do not know. I don't understand it.
the media, it's entirely possible for the media to be normies and to think that there's like election malfeasance that happens, but that it doesn't actually change the outcomes. And regardless, they actually tell themselves that we're only complaining about it because we're like in a Trump cult, and that if we won and they said that the election was stolen, we would say, no, you're not allowed to check, just like you did with us. That's not what would happen. We'd be like, yes, let's please check them all.
Okay, but think about 2020 Fox News. Like when they called Arizona early, they knew what they were doing.
Of course.
They totally knew what they were doing. And then the vote counting, stopping all the irregularities. There's no way that they all in unison were like, fraud happens, but it's not outcome determinative, you know? And then the whole threat to democracy. I mean, the talking points that they clearly get the same talking points from somewhere. They had to have known that they were in on the cover up of this thing.
I don't know. I really don't know, because a lot of these people are just doing what they're told by their bosses, and they're just there for a paycheck. You know, it's known to the CEO, and the CEO gives his idiot employees at Fox News their exact talking points. They're good at talking. They're good at repeating things. So whether they know that they're deceivers or not, you just have to give them IQ tests, I guess.
Do not know. We got some more rants we can catch up on.
Absolutely. I'd love to
Don't
do
even
that.
know where we left off, but
right. I got it. $1, John W. Ryan 4. Can I rant? Last one didn't work. It was a $20 rant, and this rant did work. Thank you very much. 1 and 2. Why do people think they have a right to know what is going on in your personal lives? If you want to share of your own free will, that's your choice. Otherwise, people should mind their own business.
That's a great point.
It's a wild concept.
And I do have a tendency to overshare myself. So if you're interested in personal lives, just listen to me for a while. You'll wish you hadn't asked.
Yeah. It occurs to me that often in our politics and our media discussions and stuff, like there'll be someone out there who says what's happening, and then there'll be all these stories that contradict what the original person said, and then they will be asked to take apart all of the opposing claims when none of those claims are true in the first place. And it's like, well, I already told you what the answer was. I don't need to tell you the same answer 10 times. And no, I don't need to address every one of your questions either. You've already been given the answer.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's like, yeah, never mind. You said it perfectly. I'm not even going to comment.
$5, World War Kentucky 3W. It's irregular warfare / PSYOP. Biden is the scapegoat. He has to stay in as long as possible to absorb all negative Dem press from re-implementing their communist agenda. Remove Biden / rebrand DNC. Thank you. $1, the real JJ14. Some of y'all obviously aren't ready for high-level information warfare. Stick to the daytime soap operas, you fucking retards. I will, and thank you for the spirited super chat. $20, World War Kentucky 3W. Elon post 20 hours and 4 minutes Eastern Standard Time. Q drop number 3403, and then 2004 is also in the flight log.
Did you guys see Elon had a post about like the flight logs or something too?
No, Elon posted at 10:04 p.m. Eastern Standard Time.
Well, what about this?
Is that, wait, no, 8:04 p.m. I'm sorry. Yeah.
Well, read this post on screen here.
Yeah, for sure.
This was
Elon Musk posts, when there is not just one even attempted prosecution of that Epstein, Bill Gates, and Reid Hoffman come to mind client list. Either FBI does their duty or the case for an entire departmental reset or abolishment is strong. The word you're looking for is abolition, Elon. Anyway,
keep going.
So the world deserves the right to know every client. I love the fact that he mentioned Reid Hoffman.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
that guy needs more exposure in big ways.
I can agree with that.
And we have $1, Ganaka 1. They don't care. Okay, so sorry. Anyway, World War Kentucky 3W said that tweet is just a weird coincidence. I'm sure Elon is involved with Q, or at least is using it. Also, Flynn posted about treason today too. Weird. Thank you very much. $1. Ganaka 1. They don't care if Biden is out of the way. They want HRC and BO. I guess. I don't know. Maybe. $1. Keith O'Higgins watching
Well,
this.
hold on, Patrick. Chris was about to say something.
I just was going to say I would like to see that too.
Yeah.
I think replacing Kamala for Hillary would be perfect to me. I don't think Biden's going anywhere. Getting Hillary as the VP, that would icing on the cake. Oh, real quick, did you guys see Patriot Front was active today again? Crazy.
You know what that calls for?
What was that?
I said, you know what? Every time I see Patriot Front, what that calls for, it's this video right here. And I always use this this GIF whenever I see them.
Hold for processing.
Gay.
Oh man, I have that pulled up.
Patrick's too quick.
I should make you an admin on here because I have that like locked and loaded as a clip on StreamYard.
Oh, well,
would have been a lot quicker, but that's okay.
$10.
It is pretty gay.
Ganako 1. Thanks for all you guys do. And $10. John W. Ryan 4. Can I rant $10? Why am I limited? I just don't know. This is kick-ass, dude. Just busting out multiple $10 rants. $10. John W. Ryan 4. I'm limited to a $10 rant. That's horseshit, if you ask me, my friend. $5. Wait, that is horseshit. That's us getting our money cut in half. Well, anyway, nothing we can do about it right now. Thank you for calling our attention to it. $5. Sussed ho. Thanks, guys. Always love the repartee from you three. Thank you very, very much. $5. A pink rose. There is a hearing scheduled in D.C. regarding the stolen 2020 election in September. The person with the evidence who is testifying posted about it yesterday. Okay, I guess we have our things queued up.
By the way, we haven't hoard for likes at all.
Guys, hey, you know, I get in trouble if we don't get enough likes. So I need you to just do me a favor. Give the thumbs up, okay? The beatings will continue until morale improves. So just help me out and hit that thumbs up button and see if we can please get us #1 on the leaderboard, as has become a custom for us here on the Saturday edition of the Devolution Power Hour.
Yeah, we've been #1. I got to go back and look, but it's over 50% of the Saturdays this entire year. We've been the #1 show on Rumble, and that's all because of you guys. So we appreciate those thumbs up. That's what does it. So thank you very much. Oh, Patrick, you also have a product you wanted to tell everybody about.
Damn straight, guys. Are you ready for Rainfall? That's right. The best lotion the world has ever known. Rainfall has arrived using the magical healing power of aloe. Purely organic, purely taken directly from the aloe plant, followed by food-grade plant oils like argan, amaranth, rose hip, evening primrose oil, and a little bit of essential oil at the end for a wonderful scented finish. I watched this thing cure a sunburn on my son right before my eyes. Get it today. Go to tulipblooms.shop or epicminerals.net, tulipblooms.shop. Use promo code BADLANDS for 10% off your order. And remember, every single bottle of Rainfall that you buy contributes directly to the salaries of people working right here at Badlands Media. That's tulipblooms.shop. Promo code BADLANDS.
Can't put a price tag on that.
Yes, I can.
He does. All right, keep going.
Oh, more rants. Sweet.
Yeah, unless you guys got anything else you want to talk about, maybe something will come up in the rants.
Oh yeah, I'm gonna want to talk about the friggin' the cities that Trump wants to put up. I'm excited about that.
Oh yeah, we can talk about the flying cars. I'm down.
It's not the flying cars I'm excited about. I'm excited about the new cities. Flying cars are cool. I would totally ride in a flying car. I don't know if they'd let me drive one because I think it's going to be no, not that. No.
What's up, Q Alerts?
Hey, Q Alerts.
That's a compliment, Patrick.
The rainfall is keeping me young. Yes, the rainfall is keeping me young.
Oh yeah.
So there's that. Yes, I'm actually 74 years old, and rainfall goes on my face every single day. Bam. And it absorbs instantly. So thank you very much for the opportunity. Ah, yes. All right. Anyway, yeah, I'm excited about the cities, John, because how do you get like paper ballots? Well, what if you spin up new cities where they just build the election infrastructure into the city? Yeah,
How would they do that?
Cities.
And this is back in 2023, but how would they do that? It's the state legislatures that have to choose the election infrastructure, right? So it'd be up to the state in which the cities
why
are.
That should be. Why does the state legislature get to decide? Well,
it's in the Constitution.
For the presidential election, the state legislature. So do you think that the state legislatures are out there saying you have to use these machines?
I don't know. I mean, this is what it is, and this is why I thought Chevron might be bigger than we think, because it's each city runs their own elections on behalf of the state, right? And the state like gives them like, here's your guidance, but know who gives the state their guidance? The EAC and CISA and all these other agencies, and that's how they run their elections. And know who puts that stuff together? It's the ISAC or whatever, the stuff we've written about, and they're the ones who put all the guidance out, and they're made up of Dominion voting machines and CITL and all these other things. Like, they're the ones implementing our elections at the same time that they're running them. That's why I think Chevron could be potentially bigger, and it might not even necessarily be stuff in the past, but moving forward in the future, like 2024, if there's shenanigans with the election and there's lawsuits, they can no longer defer to these three-letter agencies to necessarily put forth how things need to be done. I don't know.
One of the things I've been thinking about a lot lately, because, you know, I kind of go back and read history and try to see where historical stories match up in terms of roles and motivations and the rest of it to what we're seeing right now. And I've been going through the Anti-Federalist Papers, which are just other founding fathers kind of arguing with guys like Alexander Hamilton. They have different priorities and they have different views on the Constitution and what's ultimately going to be contained in it. But one of the things that was clear is that people were really concerned about the states being totally subsumed into this federal body and no longer having the rights, and that all the choice-making power would move further and further away from the people. And so, you know, I kind of think that we're unwinding our way back through American history, figuring out all the points at which this experiment went wrong and removing those bad parts, many of them instituted in illegitimate fashion. We have Marbury versus Madison that says any law repugnant to the Constitution is void, like on its face void. And a lot of that stuff has been preserved primarily through court precedent. And what we're seeing now is a reversal of a lot of that court precedent, which takes away kind of the force shield that existed over the overturning of our Constitution that has happened over the last 250 years. And without that precedent in the way, it should be pretty easy to bring cases and say, this is clearly repugnant to the Constitution. This must be removed on that basis alone, because the protections are no longer there. So I just hope that we see like just a cascade of lawsuits trying to speak directly to the original Constitution and how things were supposed to be.
And that's why I loved the immunity ruling, because the majority opinion, they talked a lot about that, about the president's duty is what's outlined in the Constitution, right? And one of the things they said, and I think it's this one, Patrick. Yeah, you want to read this?
Yeah. On Trump's view, the alleged conduct qualifies as official because it was undertaken to ensure the integrity and proper administration of the federal election. Of course, the president's duty to, quote, take care that the laws be faithfully executed plainly encompasses enforcement of federal election laws passed by Congress.
We can stop there, but I say this so many times, but I still think it's so true. Trump knew that was his duty.
Mm-hmm.
And if he legitimately walked away from 2020, man, yeah, I would consider him to be unfit for office this time around, because he's already shown he'd be failed in his duty from what happened in 2020. He didn't uphold our federal elections. They were blatantly stolen. He had to have done something.
And also Marbury versus Madison also kind of made it so that any law repugnant to the Constitution is no law. And by the way, it's repugnant to the Constitution when the Supreme Court says it's repugnant to the Constitution. The end, full stop. We're the deciders. And I think that was less of I think that was a real question back then. Andrew Jackson, for example, famously said, okay, yeah, the Supreme Court just made their decision. Now, what army are they going to enforce it with?
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's what Chevron was overturned. That was them basically saying, like, that was repugnant to the Constitution.
Oh, yeah.
All that.
They also protect this stuff through narratives and social pressure, talking about my norms and my institutions. You know, my precious, precious norms. These are the things that have upheld this entire governmental structure for generations now. You know, one of the things we don't talk a lot about, at least not in the last year or so for sure, in the devolution conversation, is the role of the states and the fact that Trump could have simply decreased federal power relative to state power, including on things like the military and whatever else. You know,
it's an interesting discussion.
Initially, one of the major discussions that the founding generations were having was whether or not there would be a standing army. And what they talked about specifically were these state militias. And it's funny, I was actually listening to, I think it was Anti-Federalist 7, maybe 8. They actually used the phrase that you see in the Second Amendment about a well-regulated militia. Well-regulated means that they are well-regimented. They are regularized. They are continually training and coordinating with each other among the states. Each of the states with their own state militia that we know, we now refer to them as the National Guard instead, but that was the well-regulated militia of each and every state. And because all the states need this for their individual security and ultimately our collective security, since the federal government was tasked with the signing of treaties and whatever else, the state militias would all have to have this thing, and it would have to be well-regulated. And so the citizens would have to be able to bear arms throughout the country in order to make up that well-regulated militia that could then come serve and protect the nation overall.
It's a great point. I mean,
the Anti-Federalist Papers, man, I didn't, if I had ever heard of them before, this period, I would be shocked. This is not the kind of stuff you would ever get taught in a public school. Maybe in college government courses, maybe, but I don't see where else a normal American citizen would hear about this fact. And of course, it's all the Federalists who are memorialized in Hollywood films and whatever Hamilton on Broadway was.
Is there a link to this?
How would you Chris, how would you define the argument between the Federalists and the Anti-Federalists? What did the Anti-Federalists want? 50 independent states with no central government?
Well, it wasn't 50 at that time, first of all. And they were open to a central government, and they already had the Articles of Confederation and stuff before that. So they go in degrees. And one of the ones I was listening to yesterday, I think it was maybe Anti-Federalist 10, they talk about a different variety of Federalists. And in fact, I might be able to find this if you guys want to talk amongst yourselves. There is like a really cool clip where, so I just am listening to the audiobooks, and they break down the factions among the Federalists and Anti-Federalists. And it was basically a lot of people trying to get this Constitution passed and signed on very short notice on behalf of essentially global bankers. The idea being that people like Alexander Hamilton were actually, it's always people versus regime. And in that case, it was too. And that was the two sides of this negotiation in some sense. And the sides working on behalf of the bankers ultimately seem to have won. The Bill of Rights, in fact, was a concession to the Anti-Federalists. And so you just imagine how bad it would be without it. I will.
Yeah, Patrick, we can talk more. Well, Chris, real quick, have you read the Federalist Papers?
I did probably at least like half of it. I don't know, 10 years ago or so.
Okay, you haven't read it recently?
No.
I mean, I went through it, gosh, like after I first woke up. And actually, I think it was after I first started writing the Devolution series. I went through it once, and I went through it again recently. Didn't get all the way through, but I do remember getting to the point where they were trying to discuss the armed forces thing, and that is interesting. What you're saying? You got to find that clip.
I will.
Patrick, have you read the Federalist Papers?
I've read bits and pieces of it, but no, not in any way that really matters. The real argument between the two sides is very interesting at this point. But, we also have a situation where we know that there's nothing like what either side in that debate had in mind going on right now.
Yeah, I'm looking at videos here too. The Anti-Federalists were opposed to the ratification of the Constitution. They believed that the stronger central government that it would create would undermine principles of republicanism, states' rights, and limited government. It was the Federalists versus the Anti-Federalists in a fierce struggle over ratification. Although the Constitution was ratified, the Anti-Federalists helped to shape the document by insisting on the inclusion of a Bill of Rights. Interesting. But yeah, we can keep going through some of the rants until
Absolutely.
Actually, hold on. I want to do a recent one here. We have I'm going to pull up this clip. Because apparently Fox News is floating Robert O'Brien for VP, and I want to see what they're saying.
How obnoxious is your victory dance going to be?
Depends which thing I'm right about.
Yeah.
Looks a certain
Might have to go take some lessons with you.
way. I think they want competence.
Of America?
Well, I think they want competence, and you got to have a good working relationship with Donald Trump. He wants somebody who is loyal to him and the MAGA agenda. There are two other people that should be on that list, and one is John Radcliffe, the former director of national intelligence. He was a former congressman from Texas, and he was a U.S. attorney. And the other one is Robert O'Brien, who still has. He just wrote kind of the definitive piece about peace through strength. He was his national security advisor, briefed the president on a regular basis, and a very good working relationship. Again, kind of looks like he's from Central Casting.
Yeah.
Those two have great working relationships, and I think he should be considered. I hope
Okay, so this is 2 days ago, and this is interesting because of Robert O'Brien was just at I don't know where he was at, something in Utah, and Jason Chaffetz was there with him. And then Jason Chaffetz goes on air. Yeah, right here. Wonderful 4th of July in Provo, Utah with two great Americans, Jason Chaffetz, Senator Mike Lee, Robert O'Brien's with them. And then Jason Chaffetz goes on air and says, you know who's not being talked about? Robert O'Brien.
Hey, guys. On the predicted markets, Robert O'Brien isn't even listed among the possible options to bet on.
I mean, you guys understand what I'm just saying here, right? Like,
yeah,
Jason Chaffetz he blew
this is amazing,
blew his load a little bit.
Here we go.
This is amazing.
Are you ready for this?
Yep.
You know what's funny? We will only have one more Saturday episode of Devolution before we know who the vice president selection is, unless that itself is a rug pull, and I feel like it's going to be.
I don't know, man. They're doing a fundraiser where it is.
I know, that's what I'm saying.
It's 5,000 $5 a person to get in. If you want a photo, it's $100,000. You guys should be thankful we don't charge these kind of prices at our GARTs, because that is insane. $100,000 per photo give? Like, what the hell?
With whom?
I don't know. There's this Freedom First event with the nominee for vice president, and Trump is going to be there. It's insane to have any that much money. But anyway, okay, let's listen to this.
Right.
Check this out.
Moment, their main object, a complete consolidation of the states, and a government much higher toned, less Republican and free than the one proposed. If necessity, therefore, should ever oblige us to adopt the system and recommend amendments, the true friends of a federal republic must see they are well defined and well calculated, not only to prevent our system of government moving further from Republican principles and equality, but to bring it back nearer to them. They must be constantly on their guard against the address, flattery, and maneuvers of their adversaries. The gentlemen who oppose the Constitution or contend for amendments in it are frequently and with much bitterness charged with wantonly attacking the men who framed it. The unjustness of this charge leads me to make one observation upon the conduct of parties, etc. Some of the advocates are only pretended Federalists. In fact, they wish for an abolition of the state governments. Some of them I believe to be honest Federalists, who wish to preserve substantially the state governments united under an efficient federal head, and many of them are blind tools without any object. Some of the opposers also are only pretended Federalists who want no federal government or one merely advisory. Some of them are the true Federalists. Their object, perhaps more clearly seen, is the same with that of the honest Federalists, and some of them probably have no distinct object. We might as well call the advocates and opposers Tories and Whigs, or anything else, as Federalists and Anti-Federalists. To be for or against the Constitution as it stands is not much evidence of a federal disposition. If any names are applicable to the parties on account of their general politics, they are those of Republicans and anti-Republicans. The opposers are generally men who support the rights of the body of the people and are properly Republicans. The advocates are generally men not very friendly to these rights and properly anti-Republicans. Had the advocates left the Constitution, as they ought to have done, to be adopted or rejected on account of its own merits or imperfections, I do not believe the gentlemen who framed it would have ever been alluded to in the contest by the opposers. Instead of this,
You're muted again.
Yeah, so then they go into some other stuff, but the breakdown of the factions there was pretty clear. And the relationship between what we're witnessing now happening in our reality to the extent we can discern it sounds exactly the same as that. And the factions sound the same, and the motivations and the pretensions sound the same. So
it's interesting stuff. Patrick, you have an opportunity to reread The Anti-Federalist and make a much more exciting audiobook.
How long is it?
It's quite long.
That's what she said.
There are 11 parts, and I think it's about 90 minutes for each part. But it's fascinating.
So,
Yeah. It's well worth doing. The first LibriVox recording, the first few papers are a different voice, and then it gets into this lady, and it's difficult, but worth it.
So each one is only 90 minutes allowed. I could do one at a time.
Each Federalist paper is like 12 minutes or something. So I'm about 3 hours into it, and I think I've gone through 12 or 13.
That could be fun.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, we may
great
have
stuff.
a potential topic for reading epic threads. That woman sounded like Ellen DeGeneres.
I said the other day, who's it about? Was it Harry Sisson? I was like, if Harry Sisson was any gayer, he would be Ellen DeGeneres.
That was brilliant, dude. That was brilliant because you called him a lesbo.
I know. Loved it.
Genius.
Simping hard. He will not abandon Biden no matter what.
I feel like he's the same as that Biden HQ Twitter account with the laser eyes. Like, I think these are just like like ops to make it look like they're always stepping on rakes.
It's crazy. Anyway, let's keep going through the rants, man.
All right, rock and roll. Next, we have $10. John W. Ryan 4. Was it because I said Mohap? I don't know, man, but I do appreciate the multiple $10 rants. But other people are getting their bigger rants out there, so we'll see. Thank you very much. $20, Jody IVRN. All the cases that were brought against voter fraud that were dismissed by the judges for standing, can they now refile? I think that most of these things were dismissed without prejudice. They've been able to refile since the beginning, right?
I don't know.
Okay.
They could refile if the Chevron deference is the thing that I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know either. $1, John W. Ryan 4. Sorry, guys. I've never ranted here before. Having trouble. Well, I mean, you're just kind of throwing money at us, and I just can't complain at all. So thank you very much. $2, Dirk McGurkin. Perhaps there is a co-narrative that needs to be placed with the current narrative for it to make sense. Say if the economy implodes next week, does it contextualize things? Yes, but that makes me nervous as hell. I'm not ready for an economy implosion. Yeah, very good point, Dirk McGurkin.
Yeah, I actually haven't seen anybody take that angle yet. Like, is the Biden media freakout them trying to get ahead of something that's coming? Like, do they know of something coming?
I don't know, man. It is friggin' eerie. You know, it's weird because we've been waiting since the stolen election for a big, big win, right? We get it in a big way with the Biden debate.
Mm-hmm.
It's the convergence of two competing narratives, or as Scott Adams might say, for the first time, they were seeing the same movie on the same screen. And then it's kind of like watching animals, the way they behave right before an earthquake. You're like, oh God, all the animals are flipping out. Well, right now, those animals are mainstream media personalities. They're like weird barking dogs right before some major cataclysmic event.
Yeah, and did you watch either of you guys the Stephanopoulos interview?
I saw like 5 or 6 clips.
Because at the very beginning, he was talking about like, why did you do so bad or whatever? And Biden's like, well, Trump was yelling and screaming at me, you know, while I was answering my questions, and I couldn't focus or something. And I thought it was funny because the entire debate, they had a split screen of Trump on there, and Trump didn't say a word. I just thought that I should have brought that up earlier, but yeah, I don't know. I like the way you phrased that, Patrick. Animals running scared, something's coming.
Yeah, Donald Trump's split screen with Biden during that debate was one of the great cinematic works of art that I have ever seen. Biden's face, you know, the whole time, and the director said to him, look, I want you to do your face because you're going to be on camera the whole time. When you are on camera for 90 minutes, I need you to go full ultra dementia. Just when you are not speaking, just screw your facial expression into the most demented shit you can come up with. All right, now go. Yeah, just like that.
Yeah.
For those of you just listening, Biden's face just popped on the screen.
Well, it was perfect because during the debate while he's doing that, and I had this up, they were both literally making the same face over at Trump the whole time. It was great. Anyway.
$10, Justice Cooper. Out of the box thinking, spitballing a thought. 25th Biden, so use the 25th on him. Change of batter, oust Speaker Johnson. Name Trump Speaker, disqualify Harris, Trump is president. Lol. Thank you very much for that excellent out of the box one.
Excuse you.
$5, J Beam. Hello, J Beam.
Beam.
Q didn't say they would succeed in their attempt to change batters. They're stuck with Biden, and it's going to be glorious to witness them panicking while he refuses to step aside. Very good. $5, Trump NATO 4. I sent Shem time of deceit and the pinned tweet to John's timeline. He responded to not waste his time. Shem is a longtime friend of mine, but knows what he can and can't say on X to keep his followers.
That's lame. You okay over there, Patrick?
I'm fine. I'm just having a little bit of heartburn issue. All right, so got that.
$5. The Armed Gardener. Patriot Front are here tonight. They keep asking about Kate. Thank you very much, The Armed Gardener. $20. Great show again. Thanks. Thank you. $5. Best noni ever. I love Badlands. Thanks, John, and all other hosts. Thank you. $10. Amondo Jr. 423. Nothing cool to say. Just love you guys. Love you back. Thank you very much. $5. Papa DB1. If Mohap suddenly somehow became voice or worse, vice president, or worse yet, president, how would that physical go?
This went up my ass. Don't clip that.
My favorite was the fact that he says, don't clip it, and then instantly goes to the Badlands. Yep. It's brilliant.
Thank you, Green Star.
$1 World War Kentucky 3W. I've gone broke speaking with you guys tonight, and I just hit the thumbs up because of the reminder, lol. Thanks, guys. I love you all, and I'm very thankful for your research. I hope to meet you all one day.
You can meet us at GART. Come to GART. Tickets still available to Deadwood. We don't really have like a cap on it, I don't think.
Sweet.
I mean, as we sell more tickets, we can increase the room size. So
ooh, nice.
Get your tickets, guys. Would love to see you there. We might even show up a little early on Wednesday, do some golfing, maybe. So
yep. $5. The Armed Gardener. Do you really want retards flying a car over your house? Let's not do that. Grow some fucking tomatoes. No, the flying cars are coming. Can't do anything about it.
And they already fly planes over our house, so why does it matter?
That's a pretty interesting point, actually. I hadn't thought of that.
I think everybody cars are going to be the flying cars will be 100% automated. I don't think we're going to be allowed to drive them ourselves like cars.
Yeah.
Well, if they could do that, why don't they do that with planes? I mean, I know they have autopilot, but like,
my guess is that a vertical takeoff flying car will be more like a drone than like a plane.
Like Tesla can, I saw a video the other day. Tesla can like take you from your apartment parking lot and drive you to work 4 hours away without you having to touch the wheel one time. How have they not put that into like plane? Like how come a plane can't just like, why do planes need pilots whatsoever?
I'm told that the pilots are almost ceremonial at this point.
They're just to get vaccinated and die mid-flight or what?
I think that if both, listen, I don't know anything, but I have a friend who flies more than you could possibly imagine. And he's looked into all this stuff, and he says the stuff up there is so well automated now that the pilots are kind of like glorified babysitters.
Gotcha. Okay.
$5, Tammy Holland. John, dog you, buy any change. Catch one of 3 food news hosts mentioning that Robert O'Brien would make a great VP pick. He must have watched Wednesday's DPH. Lol. Thank you so much, Tammy Holland, for the.
We've been floating the O'Brien pick since Ezra tweeted about it way back when.
And it's not even an option to bet on at predictit.org. So when
crazy.
it does show up, it'll run straight to the top of the list.
Yeah.
$1 World War KY3W. Last dollar. Patrick, it's World War Q. As in Q. Oh. Very good. Very good. World War Q. That's much more badass than the way I was saying it. Love you long time. Also, I live in Ohio and in law enforcement, so I have to be under the covers. Unfortunately, I feel like that dork burning bright. You have to be under the covers. I love it. Thank you very much for all those wonderful super chats. World War Q. Very nice. $5, Tammy Holland. I screwed my first rant up. Sorry. Robert O'Brien was floated around as Trump's VP pick on one of the Fox shows. He must have watched Wednesday's DPH. I like the Food News Network. I think that sounded more like fun. Thank you very much, Tammy. $1 Gale time. John, why not RCO for Secretary of State? Robert C. O'Brien.
I mean, he could be. I have no idea. And honestly, I don't care about any of these picks. Like none of them. I don't care who he puts in any of these places. There are some picks that I would consider to be like, oh, that seems like a devolution proof. But those picks not being put in place doesn't take away from the already existing circumstantial evidence that we have. But it's very notable for him to put in somebody like Robert O'Brien, the guy he named as National Security Advisor. Like, implementing devolution in Devolution Part 13. That's interesting.
And who would be, according to Executive Order 13961, would be the National Continuity Coordinator, aka the leader of the devolution government.
Yeah, I think Pence would still be an interesting pick. Like going 3 for 3 would be kind of fun.
You can bet on Pence on the predicted market, by the way. You can buy one share for 1 penny.
Somebody in my Spitballers chat, I think it's JFK's Ghost. That's what he goes by. He bet a long time ago on Pence and it was very minimal. But if Pence gets chosen, I think he said he'd give me $10,000, and he's mentioned it like multiple times now. So I just want to, I do see you saying that, and I'm aware. So if that happens to be the case,
man, how serious is this betting market? I mean, if you
very
can
serious.
still get great odds on Pence, why would you not do it?
100%.
So I just want you to know you can buy a share of Pence for a penny. And if he's chosen, then you can sell that back for $1.
That's some damn good odds.
Because nobody thinks that Pence is going to be the VP. Yeah. But there are other names in here like Henry McMaster, 1 penny.
How is he in there and O'Brien's not?
Guys. Ron DeSantis, 1 penny.
Hey, there you go, Ash.
Wait, what about what's Tulsi at? Is she higher?
Hang on, let me find her. If she's even in there, bro. She's not. Oh yeah, there she is. She's 8 cents.
See, this is how dumb people who watch television are. That's the only way you can get to thinking that Tulsi Gabbard is a potential vice presidential choice.
Why don't I share my screen, and we'll look at all of this together. So
this will be fun. Actually, this is amazing.
You ready for the #1 most favored to be the VP pick at predictit.org? You ready for this?
Vivek.
Fucking Doug Burgum, 28 cents.
Oh my gosh.
Wow, really went in on that.
Can you share your screen?
Oh,
you forgot to share it.
Yep, there it is.
Doug
Burgum.
Hey guys, did you see Trump just followed Ben Carson on True Social, which means that's who he's going to pick. It's the only one that he follows. I saw like Poso's gang talking about that today.
Wow,
look at this.
Really happen?
Yeah.
This is just like whoever Fox News says is most popular at any given time. What this shows is that everybody just believes the television still.
Okay, doesn't the SEC like go after people for doing stuff with stocks, like stocks, like manipulating the price on social media? Like what's the guy's name who did the GameStop stuff?
Roaring Kitty?
Yeah. Wasn't the SEC like talking about going after him for manipulating the stock price? Couldn't you technically do the same thing with this if you're Fox News?
Oh, interesting.
By the way, you can get Ron DeSantis for a penny, and that's true in general.
Scroll up again.
Where is the RFK Jr. button?
Right there. I'm pointing to it. You can get him for a penny.
Oh, there you go. All right.
Where's the JFK Jr. button?
There's just no Robert C. O'Brien button, and if he ever gets on there, I will buy the shit out of that.
Can you add people?
Yeah, that's what I was going to say.
No, you can't. It's freaking bullshit. Or maybe you can, and I'm just a total friggin' noob. But there are a bunch of freaking dumbass choices here. Sarah Sanders would be a good thing to predict it on. You know, because the thing is, listen, here's the cool thing about predicted. Right before the decision gets made, that's when people start like spreading disinformation to get people to move their shares. So you'll see stuff like Mike Pompeo, for example, there'll be a rumor like a couple of hours before the thing's supposed to come out. There'll be a rumor that it's Mike Pompeo. And then all of us who bought Mike Pompeo for a penny can like sell our Mike Pompeo shares for like 11 cents or something. And then put that money into who we think is really going to be it. It's like that. It's pretty cool. You can really freaking you can chisel some freaking shekels out of this thing.
Okay, which one of you wants to tackle this one?
If Trump picks NH, I won't trust him again. Who's NH?
I think Nikki Haley, but the point is, line reporter knows better than Trump does. So who wants to?
Okay, but no, I'm just going to say this. If Trump were to pick Nikki Haley, he would know damn well how hardcore he would be alienating people like Lion Reporter and many other people. If he picks Nikki Haley, I'm just going to laugh. That would
I
be
think
hilarious.
the reign would be funny, but I don't give a shit, honestly, like who his VP pick is.
Yeah.
Trump knows better than every single one of us. He knows better than all the conning people who are telling him to pick Doug Burgum or whoever it is. Trump knows better than all of us. Especially like me thinking there's something bigger going on behind the scenes. Anybody who follows the Q post thinking there's something going on behind the scenes, like there might be some kayfabe going on somewhere, and some of the people you like or don't like might get picked as VP. And that is in no way going to change you voting for Trump. So stop saying that's the case, because it's not. It's so stupid.
So I agree with everything you just said. When the Hollywood award shows come around, people often think that everybody who's voting for these awards and deciding who wins and deciding who's nominated, they all just went to these movies and then said, oh yeah, I love Brad Pitt and Benjamin Button. There are massive PR campaigns that a lot of money is put behind in order to generate nominations in the first place. And actors and production companies will submit themselves for consideration for these nominations. And that part of it always seems weird. It seems like everybody's getting awarded for what they naturally did. I got to wonder who is pushing these VP candidates so hard on the television. It could just be part of a devolution op, of course. But then you look at some of these guys like Doug Burgum. Apparently, I haven't spent a lot of time on Doug Burgum, but has a relationship with Bill Gates. JD Vance is Peter Thiel's guy. Like, I would want to look at the rest of that list and think, who is sponsoring each one of these people and making them a prominent character on Fox News so that their voice remains in this conversation? Because truth be told, aside from the television, all of these people are totally irrelevant. You know, I mean, I guess JD Vance and Tim Scott have jobs as senators. Doug Burgum's still the governor or was former governor?
He's still the governor right now, but
Still the governor. So
he's
there are some
on
of them
Fox
who have
News more
jobs.
than he's governing the state.
Okay.
But what you're saying is spot on. Like, no, I don't want anybody that any media personnel anywhere is recommending, because every single one of these people at some point has done something to betray our trust. I don't believe Trump has. I trust Trump. Like Trump. I think that's why I think Robert O'Brien is a great pick, because nobody's really talking about him at all. No, there's no hit pieces on him out there. There's no dirt on him that we know of. Anyway, there probably will be if he gets selected. You're going to see Axios or whatever Politico come out with some bullshit. He's from Utah. He supports
You want to know why I think Robert O'Brien's not going to happen?
Why?
Because you remember Elon said that the thing most likely to happen is that which would be most entertaining from a third person's perspective. I think for that reason it's going to be Pence or RFK Jr. Because man, Elon said that, and people are like, Elon doesn't know anything. Well, first of all, yeah, he probably does.
He definitely does.
He also controls the means of information in some regard, and it tracks. I mean, we've gotten a whole lot to prove that theory in the last year and a half or whatever that's been.
I actually don't remember Elon saying that, but
he said it in an interview with Tucker Carlson. I'll find
RFK Jr. I mean, I don't see it, but maybe finally we would get G Money to like fully throw his weight behind Trump at that point.
Well, what I've been saying since RFK Jr. was first rumored to be running is that I thought it should go back to the way that president and vice president were initially elected or selected by the electors, which is the majority gets president. And then after that, they vote again among whoever's left. And Biden's going to be totally discredited by then. Maybe Robert F. Kennedy Jr. ends up with the second most electors in this system. and they form some sort of unity government or something. There's so many different things that are going to happen. And I'm not even looking, but I can feel people in the chat getting upset about RFK Jr. There's
They're more
so
upset
many
about Pence
things.
than they are about RFK Jr., which is funny. Which is funny.
There's so many things that are going to happen and that are going to fall into different places as soon as the country understands the inevitable truth that they will understand, that I've been saying, and you guys have been saying for 4 years now, that our elections are stolen. Once the nation accepts that, the positions on all of this stuff have to change immediately, knowing that the nation is actually not electing these people at all. We're not a 50-50 country. Joe Biden's nowhere close to Donald Trump in terms of popularity.
Not even close.
Go ahead, Patrick.
What do you think the number is that we're at right now? Like
70-30 best for them.
Yep. I can agree with that. I think a month ago or something, I said 65-35. That was before the debate.
I think it's a spectrum, because I think you have tons and tons of MAGA people who are clueless as fuck. So when you ask the question, what's the percentage? Yeah, I would say it's probably 65-35, as in who would vote for Trump and who would literally vote for either Biden or RFK Jr. I don't know. I think 65% of the people fall into the category of loving voting for Trump or holding their nose and voting for Trump. Those two groups together probably make up 65% at this point.
I wouldn't be remotely shocked if they had that much support in 2020, and it has grown massively since then.
Yep. Well, why is the VP? Why does the VP have any fanfare? Like, why does anybody give a shit about the VP in the first place?
Because we're watching a soap opera.
Takes the place if you if the deep state takes out the president.
I know, but when does that happen? When's the last time that actually happened?
2020. Oh, like actually just took him out. I guess JFK in 63.
Okay. I'm just curious. It just seems like.
Well, no, because then the deep state took out Nixon, and that's why Nelson Rockefeller, who was the Spiro Agnew was the, and he got taken out too. And then somehow they shoehorned. Anyway, the deep state took him out.
Can you guys you guys are just much, much older than I and far more experienced. So, no, but for real, can you guys think of any situation in modern history where the VP on the ticket cost the president an election?
How about Geraldine Ferraro in 1988?
Exactly. So why is there so much what'd you say?
I said Geraldine Ferraro in 1988.
I don't even know who the hell that is.
Walter Mondale's vice presidential candidate.
I remember watching that debate between George Bush and Geraldine Ferraro. He beat the shit out of her. It was good.
I thought stuff like that is illegal.
I know.
John, you might have a better time finding this short clip on Twitter. On YouTube, it's going to take me. Just put in those as your search terms.
Hey, by the way, somebody said that Dan Quayle was pretty bad. I don't know if y'all remember this, but Dan Quayle beat the living shit out of Al Gore in their debate.
Really?
Yeah.
I don't remember that at all.
I do.
Okay, you can go with the rants, Patrick, while I
got it, bro. All right, next. We have $5 Armando Jr. 423. Patrick, can you read Project 2025 on your channel, please? I haven't found one single good and truthful video about it. It's 900 plus pages.
The whole thing is so stupid,
bro.
I got into that and just said, I'm going to look at one of these policy prescriptions. And I thought, oh, why not the one for the Department of Education? That thing that Donald Trump says won't exist anymore, and that I fully believe will not exist anymore. And so you read through the plans, and they are basically just establishment GOP trying to weigh in and sell it to MAGA as though it's a good thing. And Paul Dans, who's in charge of it, seems like a good man. So I'm not trying to cast aspersions, but some of that stuff is just utter nonsense.
Thank you. Yeah. $5 Tammy Holland. Here's the clip of Fox News host floating Robert O'Brien again. We saw that. Thank you so much.
Here,
Tammy.
I got a video here.
All right, rock and roll.
So How did it get this way? I thought you funded it at the beginning. What happened?
Yeah, well, that would be ironic. But the most ironic outcome is the most likely, it seems.
I'm stealing that. That's good.
That's actually a friend of mine, Jonah, came up with that one. I actually have a slight variant on that, which is the most entertaining outcome is the most likely. But that's entertaining as viewed from a third-party viewer. Right. Like, so if we're like an alien
from
TV
on
show,
high, yes.
Yeah. Like you could go see a movie about World War I, and they're being blown to bits and gassed and everything in the trenches, and it's like you're eating popcorn and having a soda. It's fine. Not so great for the people in the movie.
True.
This is Occam's razor. The simplest explanation is most likely. Jonah's variant, which is irony, and then my variant, which is the most entertaining as seen by a third-party audience, which seems to be mostly true.
It is.
I would argue the most entertaining outcome would be Trump selecting like Hillary Clinton or Mike Obama Mohap for the VP.
Yeah, maybe. But what Elon is saying is profound.
Yeah, for sure.
He's saying we're watching a movie because the most entertaining outcome as viewed by a third party, that third party would be the people watching the movie.
Mm-hmm.
And he regards this as a movie. It's clear as day. The first analogy he went to was World War I movie. We're all watching it. We're eating popcorn. We're drinking a soda. And not so good for the people getting gassed in World War I.
We are not the ones that are the target audience to that movie. I would say it's your neighbors, it's your in-laws, it's your friends and family.
You know what I want to see in our entertainment is a little representation.
Yeah, right.
You know what I think Elon thinks is the audience? I think he thinks the audience is the people running the simulation. I think he thinks all that stuff. And so I think he thinks the audience is.
Why do you think people are running the simulation?
I don't know why he thinks it.
I don't think that's true. Think about how Twitter is being operated. I mean, I know so many like original QAnon accounts that I used to talk to on Telegram personally that still didn't get their account back on Twitter. And like the audience over there is the normies.
Yeah. It's crazy.
Yeah. Anyway, and Chris isn't even there yet, which is still crazy.
That's on.
Or isn't back yet.
All right.
That's a crime, honestly. That is a legitimate crime.
Yes. Well, he's the hero we need, but
no,
we're not going to get him.
You got
that is a crime. People should be arrested.
$20. Texan by birth 11. Hi. Is there a Texas Badland group? Glad to be here with y'all. You know something? I hope the chat would be able to. I think there's going to be some kind of a Badlands meetup. Sometime.
July 15th in Texas somewhere. I
Dallas.
don't remember the details.
Pretty sure it's Dallas.
Texas Jules has all the answers to that. And it's not an official Badlands meetup.
There are no official Badlands meetups except for Gart.
Yeah. But there are some Badlanders who happen to live in Texas, who happen to be doing a little get together with other people who happen to all watch the same shows and stuff. So quite the coincidence.
Whoever's running that event, please reach out to me. I need more info. Okay. Anyway, thank you very much for the super chat. $2, Dirk McGurk, and maybe the debate implosion wasn't a bug, but a feature. Maybe. $17, Trina Bina. I started late tonight. So sorry if discussed, but I heard somewhere if Biden drops out, he can be charged for crimes, but if he's forced out through the 25th Amendment, he can't be liable due to dementia. I've heard something like that too.
Right.
I'm not sure if that's true.
Supreme Court just said it depends on whether his crimes were committed doing official or unofficial acts. So it doesn't matter.
So true.
What is mental state?
$9, Mesmerist. A fellow Badlander had Robert O'Brien added to Betfair gambling in Australia. He's playing Robert C. O'Brien. I don't know what any of these numbers mean, but thank you very much. Can you get it added to predicted.org?
Can you try reading those numbers? I'm just curious if you can do it.
Sure. $5,186.40, $350, $144, $400, $30, $420, $1, $1,000, $7.
What the hell is this?
I don't know.
700 billion and $1.3 trillion.
I have no idea what any of that meant, but
can we just stop for a second? That Biden quote was right in front of everybody's face. That was on
Which one?
mainstream media, wasn't it?
Yeah, I mean, dude, there's been so many Biden gaffes. Like so many. I have a whole highlight reel. You know what? I can try to find it, but I have a whole highlight reel of stuff Biden said in the campaign of 2020 that everybody just like ignored. Like, remember the Trump-a-lump whatever?
True and international pressure.
True international pressure.
Yeah, that was 2020.
Yeah.
We were all there. It was
He
just
sounded
like
retarded throughout the campaign.
everybody knew that he was demented. I don't understand it.
They weren't deceived.
No. But they're all pretending to have been deceived because that gives them moral cover for dealing with the last 3.5 years, I guess.
So crazy. All right, next. $1. Let the arrests begin. Asking tough questions is all fun now, even Anons. It's what we do. Badlands is invaluable with this. Thank you. $1. John W. Ryan for blocking $1 rants now? No? I wouldn't dream of blocking them. John W. Ryan for. Thank you very much. $1 Data 12. J Mats. Yes, until conservatives dump Mark Zuckerberg and give up the Zucker beer, we will not be respected, and media will continue to disrespect us. Dump Zucker beer from everything. I will dump Zucker beer. Wouldn't touch it. I don't drink alcohol anyway. But even if Zucker beer were alcohol free, I would still not drink it. $1. 2812 VPJ. Great meeting John and Patrick in Matamidi. God's sense of humor. It's Matamidi, guys.
And don't you dare say that the wrong way either. You'll never hear the end of it.
I loved it. They had such a great time with me. $1. John W. Ryan for. No one else has ever had trouble ranting. Oh, yeah, I don't think it's a widespread problem.
Because I think most people, if they do have a problem, they just like don't rant, but you've just continually thrown money, and we love it. We appreciate it.
Thank you. I mean, yeah, this is fascinating.
Let me play a video real quick. I don't even, this is so long ago that I put this together, but this is a bunch of Biden gaffes. It's like 44 seconds. But this is well before just recently, so they've known.
From Charlotte, another line going from Putin's yeah.
Barack and I think it's a right for people to have bad health care.
The nature, not with they make a very good point. Here's the deal. Here's what drives the driver in the states that are affected. Here's what you can do, the drivers.
I'll lead an effective strategy to mobilize true international effort to pressure. America's dead.
What a freaking legend.
Insane.
See, I read somewhere, I think it might have been Facebook, that you can write a Biden speech by typing "here's the deal" and then using predictive text on the next 20 words.
The idea.
Oh, so good. All right, next. $51, Quinny 63.
What's up, Quinny?
My sis and I are doing Thelma and Louise minus Off the Cliff to GART 5. Come on, y'all. Join us all at GART 5. So worth it. Love ya. Thank you very much, Quinny. And it was so much fun hanging out with you and your sister in Matamidi.
It was awesome.
$5, Kitso. Trump totally has Pepe resting face. He needs to be a happier looking Pepe soon. Well put. Pepe resting face. $2, Dirk McGurkin. There were a lot of blowjobs given to determine who won the Oscar. Very true.
Yes. Yeah. That's what Me Too was about.
How does Dirk know that?
I don't know. I'll have to let us know. $2, Keith O'Higgins. Patrick, you patriot fronted over my rant. I do apologize, Keith. I hope it's okay. $5, The Armed Gardener. Here we go. How about Lloyd Benson?
Be self-evident. All men and women created by go. You know the thing.
Is that what you want?
That was after the California primary. I think he was in Los Angeles doing that.
In 2019, even?
I think it was 2020.
Was it 2020? Crazy.
$5.
Yeah, that was September 2020.
The Armed Gardener says, how about Lloyd Benson to Dan Quayle? I knew Jack Kennedy. Jack Kennedy was a friend of mine. You, sir, know Jack Kennedy. That was a good moment.
We have a best kept secret, but he doesn't say what the secret is.
And it looks like the students don't have a seat, but thanks for being here. And if you need any notes for your professors in your class that you missed, let me know. My wife is a community college professor, and she says the best kept secret. Hey, fellas, good to see you. I wish I had seen you when you present the colors. Thank you. Thank you for being here. Folks, look, you know that old expression, God made man and then he made some firefighters. And look.
I love how he has a microphone in his hand and then the microphone at the podium. It's always the thing with him, man. It's, oh gosh, it's also funny.
He's a freaking, I'm going to miss him, guys. I really, really am. What a great, wonderful time in our lives, guys. Just to have this to watch.
It is funny because, like, we've been talking about these last, 4 years about how rough they've been. But I guarantee we're going to look back at these 4 years and reminisce about how much fun it was.
Oh, my God. Yeah. Hopefully,
You know what I mean?
Hopefully Trump makes the next 4 years this awesome and we start getting tired of winning. But we never will.
Never will.
All right.
That requires the awakening to extend beyond November 5th.
Yeah, damn straight. $17. Quinny 63, Tucker Carlson, VP, and his stupid laugh would be considered movie-ish at Quinny 63. Thank you so much for that. Yep, I agree. $5. Patrick J17. Is there any unofficial Badland meetups in Las Vegas? I don't know. Hey, John, how exactly do they talk to each other to set these things up?
Something in Telegram. I don't know the details.
Okay.
But
sorry.
Well, I'm sure we have a couple Badlanders in Vegas. We could probably coordinate something.
Hey,
I wouldn't mind.
Spitballers is a really big public Badlanders group, right?
Yeah, dude, on Spitballers, we have our GART chats. That's probably the best way to stay in touch with people. So for GART, you can either attend in person or you can watch virtually. Either way, you get invited to a Telegram group specifically for GART attendees, right? So that's people who watch live or virtually. I guess they're both live, in person or virtually. And that's where a lot of these things are coordinated. So
it would be amazeballs if you guys would do one in Houston. All right.
Or Vegas. I'd go to Vegas for one of those unofficially, of course.
Of course. $1 custard one. I lost $580 betting on the 2020 election. This is what woke me the fuck up. Good day from Australia. Thank you so much. Hey, I lost a lot on betting on the 2020 election too. It was fucking bullshit. $1 John W. Ryan 4. I never give up. You really are a badass. $17 Quinny 63. Do the gaffs on CC and see what they type. Do the gaffs on CC and see what they type.
Closed captioning. I think she's saying.
Gotcha. Oh, how they correct the gaffs. Got it. Thank you, Quinny.
Or maybe it's just she's saying that AI will provide a transcription and try to express what it is Joe Biden has said. And just as an experiment, I think that's maybe what she was saying.
It's like the White House after Biden gives a speech and totally messes stuff up. They give out this this is what he meant to say. This isn't everything he actually said, but this is what he meant to say.
Yeah, that's what Patrick was suggesting, I think, right?
Yep. I believe so, yeah.
I did see one comment in the chat about the dates for Deadwood. If you go to badlandsmedia.tv, our website, and then click on events, you can see all of our upcoming conferences. And the dates for Deadwood are, I can share my screen here too. August 15th through the 18th. You can get your tickets still. And then we have Myrtle Beach coming up in November. shortly after the election. Maybe around this time, the 14th through the 17th, they might have declared a winner by then. We'll see.
Yeah.
We shall see.
$5. Papa DB1. History needs to change. We need a VP that can continue America first without shitting the bed. Continue our movement. I agree. Shitting the bed is undesirable.
Also, though, I mean, we don't, if this thing goes properly and the country's waking up, like, we should not want Donald Trump to decide who the next presidents are. You
Totally
know,
agree with that.
he's going to put more than enough people up in front of the nation and give plenty of people the opportunity to distinguish themselves. And the last thing I want to do is have to pick amongst this crop. Although, hey, man, if it's Pence or somebody like that, maybe that one makes sense. But beyond that, I don't know.
Totally agree with you there. And especially because Trump hasn't really said anything about who it's going to be. We've just been getting this is who Trump is saying, according to 4 inside sources familiar with the matter who spoke on the condition of not whatever. This is his insider list. Like, that list didn't come from Trump at all. It came from the media. And that's why I don't be on that list.
Yep. No lists. Next, we have Dirk McGurkin, $2. Biden zombie, most popular Halloween costume this year. Dude, that's a great idea. And finally, $1. Keith O'Higgins, watching the Stephanopoulos Biden interview was like seeing an episode of Antiques Roadshow. The final determination, your item is fake and gray. Very true. Very fake. Very gray.
That's all the rants, guys.
Nice ranting day, guys. Thank
That's
you
great.
very much for all the rants. That's a lot.
Ooh, Mesmerist, do a garden Australia for $9.
I think a Gart in Australia would cost a lot more than $9. Oh, that's a Rumble rant.
Yep, it's a $9 Rumble rant.
Dude, I would do a Gart in Australia in a heartbeat.
I'm afraid to leave the country, though, honestly.
Why's that?
I don't know.
It's not the worst
I bet
fear.
you they have amazing beaches in Australia.
I hear the sharks are a little brutal, though, out that
Yeah,
way.
the whole place is kind of brutal.
Wouldn't mind. We get to meet a few of our favorite authors out that way, though. I guess I probably said too much.
Oh, yeah.
But
Dude,
anyway,
so true. I would love to go to Australia.
I would go there. Probably not for like a public VP or guard thing, though. But maybe someday.
I don't even remember what part of Australia they're in. But anyway, yeah.
Somewhere along the coast.
Okay.
It's got the whole thing is a coast, man.
That's true, unless you're in the middle.
Yeah.
And then you get eaten by wildlife.
They're within the walking distance of the coast. Okay. Let's wrap it up, guys. Don't forget that thumbs up. Guys, it's been a pleasure.
As always. Thumbs up,
always.
guys. Remember, keep me out of trouble.
Keep you out of trouble. And we will see you guys next week. Thank you, everybody.
Bye.
Good night.
Witness the motion picture event that is being called fucking Amazeballs.
Do you see the difference in the M there?
It's go time. 25 later on my.
You got a seriously weird ass way of looking at shit.
If you look at the waviness of the little flag that comes out of the R is wavy. The one in the first hump in the M is not wavy. It's just a pure arc. Does that make sense?
We want to warn our viewers that these are extremely graphic images.
Give me a second, dude. This is more autistic than I've ever been before.